It's the one show on YouTube where it's mandatory to be pantsless. Midnight's Edge after dark, baby. That's right. It's Thursday night. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I am joined by some very, very wonderful gentlemen here. I'm going to introduce them one by one. First off to my left here, the one, the only Mexican Iron Man. How you doing, buddy?
Great. I just want to let everybody know the virtual taco bar is open. We have we also have free Fanta for everyone here. Orange and grape are tonight's flavors.
Are there any other kinds?
Dude, there's like 20 different Fanta flavors.
Right?
Don't get me started.
Really?
I was going to say,
No one drinks them. It's only those two.
Is your mic just a little bit far away or twisted around again? Okay.
Is that not good?
You just sound a little far away. Not too bad, but just a little far away. Double check your setting just to be sure, though.
Stand by.
Awesome. And in the meantime, let's introduce the one, the only Jesse Miller from the Crow's Nest. How you doing, buddy?
I'm having a lovely day. Everything's going well, and nothing has blown up yet.
Not yet. And below me here is the one, the only Valiant Renegade. How you doing?
Hey, Tom. Hey, Chad. Mike, Jesse, good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you letting me in here.
Yeah, we like having you on. It's kind of a semi-regular. And I've got somebody waiting in the wings, a very special guest. If you read the title, we have the one, the only PJ from Orville Nation. How are you?
Nice.
Hey guys, thanks Tom for the invite. Sorry, we had a blackout and I had to switch places. I had to go somewhere else to stream. I apologize for that.
No worries. As long as you're good to go, we're fine with that. And we're just glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, and nice to stream with Jesse and Valiant. And hey, Mike.
Hey, brother. How are you? My good buddy, PJ.
Now you sound much better, Mike.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
And Tom, I know we have Midnight's Edge in Espanol, pero if you need PJ and I to speak some Espanol, podemos hacerlo.
Well, I'm starting to understand you guys. It's messed up, man.
Okay, PJ, we got to talk about Jesse offline.
Just wait till he starts answering you guys.
Well, it works a lot better than high school Spanish. It honestly does, because I know what you're generally talking about, so I can fill in the rest, then I learn those words later.
I can't wait till he starts, because it's going to just be with that Jesse attitude. It's just
now, wait, you got to test that theory, Mike. You have to talk about Jesse in Spanish on the air, just randomly.
Yeah, you guys will be going
on it.
You can't use any of the typical bad words though, because I'll know them.
Oh, PJ and I will break it down. We'll get good at this. We'll rehearse.
He'll just feel like all of a sudden he'll just be like, "Yo, fuck you guys."
Yeah. Fuck you, I'm out. You're cool. Out.
You shove that up your fucking ass.
I never ate a burrito that way.
But I'll punch your ass in Spanish.
By the way, congrats on Midnight's Edge in Espanol, guys. Andre and Tom.
Oh yeah, Mike and
Paulie
are the ones who deserve a lot of the praise for that, actually. So definitely thanks to Paulie and Mike for getting that off the ground, and Pablo and all those guys over there who are doing a bang-up job. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning we got the show, and we throw the videos up when we can, and they're doing all kinds of other stuff on the side to get things rolling. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Hey, don't give yourself some credit, Tom. The main star of the show over there is Tom Latin X over there, buddy.
That's Paulie too, anyway.
Shh, stop! You're gonna give away the secret.
If I talk like that in real life, it'd be like, "Hello, welcome to Midnight's Edge. I'm Tom."
I need help from my friend Brad. Yeah, we had this tennis ball shooting machine, and we boiled all these potatoes, and we filled it with Vaseline.
Oh my God! It's up my ass.
Oh God, not the ass. Oh,
they were firing them in there really hard.
I can't help it. My asshole hurts.
I'm just glad
Sir,
somebody
would
else
you please
remembers
use the proper
jerky
terminology. Boys. I can't help it. It's tearing the ass out of me.
Hello, security. Yeah, I'd like some security. I'm very insecure.
I lost my glasses.
Lost my glasses.
Fucking jerky. Boy.
I was laying there in a puddle of my own blood, sweat, and piss. I was terrified.
And we got an entire Family Guy character from that in Mort Goldman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen him on there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Jerky Boys. I even like that movie as bad as it is.
Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Well, back in the days for caller ID.
Okay, Valiant Renegade says, well, he's right here, so why don't you just read it?
All right, for the record, I sent that in before the show started. So, yeah. Meet on a Thursday night, and I'm home to enjoy it from the start. Hail to the panel. Me. Hail to the chat. Hit that like button, and hail to our glorious wrenches out there tonight. And please share the link out. Matter of fact, I'm doing it right now to Twitter. You guys do the same.
Yes, please share as much as you can. Just wear a condom. Mr. Tickle Trunk sends in a super sticker. Yeah, whatever you were just going to say.
Just the face on the condom.
PJ's just getting reminded of what it's like over here. He's just
yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
Poor PJ. He's like, I don't know why I've ignored their invitations for a month.
A month?
No, he hasn't. PJ never ignores anything. PJ's like awesome. He's like all professional. And
I had
stuff.
a great time, lad. The last time I was here, I had a great time, guys.
Yeah, it's just been too long. Joachim Stark says, call a helpline, Tom. Well, I do that, but they tell me there's other places for that, and they cost $9.99 a minute. I tell them, and I'm like, I ain't got that kind of money.
Look, man, all you gotta do is wait for those guys to call you up about the warranty on your car or whatever.
I love those.
Yeah, you just start talking in a real husky voice slowly, and then when they start asking questions, you just say, "Oh, don't stop talking. I'm almost there."
I actually have a couple recorded that are pretty bad.
What the hell is it with that? They're calling every single person in the country 10 times over.
Yeah, it's like we know what's going on with our cars.
Well, I'm finally getting the famous one. I'm finally getting the famous one where they call up and say, "This is the Social Security, and your Social Security number has been revoked," or whatever. It's just like,
can you do that now?
Yeah, I probably do that now. And I love keeping them on the phone for a while because they're nothing but scammers. Mm-hmm. You know what it is, PJ? It's every time you sign up for something online and give your number out, they sell it to 100 different companies.
I got this one guy to admit that he was really
data protection.
I got one guy to admit that he was working out of Africa and he flipped on me, and he was just screaming, "F you this, F you that." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm right?" He was like, "Yeah, you're right, but I got to do this all day." I'm like, "Do you really keep a notebook on people?" He's like, "Yeah, I keep a goddamn notebook on people."
Oh, it's a lot worse than you'd think. There's actually a channel out there. I can't remember the guy's name. But the name of the channel is like Forest Green or Green Acres or some shit like that. I can't remember it now.
That's the place to be.
I know. It's something different. It's something like that, though. And if somebody in the chat room knows who I'm talking about, but he does a really great job of tracking down these guys and putting a stop to them. And he even got for a while where there was one of these guys working with him. And, he just got to learn of what it's like over there and why these people work in these places, because there's not really any other good jobs where you can make good money. But the pressure and shit that's put on them is just insane. But like this guy, I guess, helped him shut down a shit ton of these places.
How come they're not just working on all the movies, the Bollywood movies? They all bust down into like a dance.
Well, most of them are out of Nigeria. That's where a lot of them are.
Oh, well, they have is like really bad fishing boats and AIDS.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the only way a lot of these guys can make any real money. And sadly, it's at the cost of, duping some old lady out of her fucking savings, unfortunately.
Some of these countries over there, they do have so many problems where it's like you just want to transplant everybody who's useful and just let the rest of the country die for 20 years. Like, now you could go back and inherit the land.
Stephen Otten comes in with a $5 super chat, though, and says, "Hail, Tom, Mike, Jesse, PJ, Valiant, Wrenches, and chat. What the hell is Disney doing to my xenomorphs? Plus, Turd Lady has now saved us." Me. We'll do our best. As far as the alien thing, we may touch on that later, but Andre's got a editorial coming out on that, so I don't want to steal too much thunder on that. But we do have PJ here for a reason, so I want to get into that a little bit. So PJ, buddy,
yep,
you're making the news a little bit.
Yeah. Well, listen. Let me just say this right off the record. Somebody told me you're really sticking it to Alex Kurtzman, and it's not. I don't want to stick it to anybody. And we're just a safe place for people to come and talk. We have no agenda. We're just, we're very neutral, and actually we pride ourselves on being very neutral. I don't want to stick it to Alex Kurtzman. I want to meet Alex Kurtzman. I would like to interview him. I would like to have a relationship with him. If an actor comes on and wants to say his piece about something, I'm not going to stop him.
Well, no, but unfortunately,
that was such a great show. I think we need to shouldn't we fill in the chat, give them the whole story?
Oh, we're gonna hear. I'm just kind of setting it up a little bit. Because if you watched our show Tuesday, Script brought to my attention that PJ had talked to Andrew Moody, who is an actor. And Script happened to actually know Andrew personally. And he's like, oh, this is interesting. So we talked about it on the show. And then the next thing I know, everywhere out of the woodwork, these headlines come out. And this is one of the newest ones. I think this is the one you just sent me here recently too, PJ.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where it's just, hey, it's coming out. And we've been reporting on this stuff for a while. So like or hate Alex Kurtzman, there's got to be something to this. It's been a revolving door of showrunners. If you've got actors feeling this way, and you know what? It does kind of explain some of the standoffishness, if that's a word, I guess, or the standoff nature that a lot of these...
standoffnish idity.
Yeah, or the nature of being standoff. I don't know. Fuck it.
Standoffishness.
Yeah, we'll stick with standoff.
The way the actors have kind of been reacting online early on, I remember, quite a few of us got into a bit of a tiff with some of the actors. And, Kurtzman's not somebody who's out in the limelight very often. And I know, PJ, I can speak for your, you do a great job and you're very fair and you're very open to anybody that you bring in. You do great fucking interviews. Like really great interviews. And I try to keep up with them as much as I can. And I know you've invited me to many great interviews, and it was because of you that we were gotten in touch with like Alan Dean Foster and stuff like that. So we're always grateful for things like that. And, again, I reiterate, and I said this to you, and I'm not kidding. PJ's channel, Orville Nation, is one of the most criminally under-subbed channels on YouTube. So if you guys have not checked out PJ's channel yet, please do yourself the favor and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. He does a lot of great interviews, especially if you're into all the sci-fi stuff like Orville, obviously, but Dark Matter and Star Trek and a bunch of other stuff. Do you even do some what else do you cover? Like a lot of stuff, right?
I mean, we've been doing shows with the executive producer of Stargate.
Stargate. That's the other
creator of Dark Matter, Joe Malazzi. So a lot of Stargate comes up inevitably.
So yeah, if you guys are into any of that stuff, and I know there's a lot of Stargate fans out there, definitely.
As a fan of the Orville Nation, I have to say that although the name of your channel is Orville Nation, for those of you in the chat that have never checked these guys out or checked PJ and his crew out, it's really more like watching the Sci-Fi Channel online, because the breadth is great. They cover all kinds of different shows, and the depth is just awesome. It's the fastest, hardest deep dive of really cool information. And because you're PJ, you have these, it's the source material from the actors, the producers, directors, whatever. I mean, guys, if you have not a sub and you haven't checked out his shows, maybe you haven't even seen the Orville Nation. Maybe you're not a fan of Orville Nation, but that is literally, PJ, you really built up what I think is the Sci-Fi Channel on the hub of being the best, Orville channel.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm just going to reserve right now for our spin-off channel, but it goes along those lines. So.
Really? Wait,
yeah, thanks.
Mexican Iron Man is having a moment of visionary, seeing the future here.
Premonition.
Yeah.
Again, I've been saying I got to switch from refried beans to black beans for months now. It begins today, guys.
I have a question about interviewing someone. Like let's say you got to interview Kurtzman. Now, if you're interviewing someone whose material ain't that great, to put it nicely, like a good interview, it has to be kind of complimentary at times. It has to be a little pushy at times. But it's hard to be complimentary when there's nothing really to compliment.
So, if you let's take Kurtzman and Kathleen Kennedy, for example. Those are people who I'd like to interview. And for example, I don't mean to avoid your question, but for example, if you take Kathleen Kennedy, she thinks on many levels, she thinks she's doing the right thing, right? That's that kind of person, and we might in the fandom think that she's screwing up, but she on many levels thinks she's doing the right thing, and she's doing a noble thing for women and young women and etc. and equality. So that's
Hitler, though.
But yeah, well, so that's one person, and then Kurtzman, he's a very different kind of person. I don't really know much about him, but he's inevitably going to have his side of the story. I would like to hear his side of the story and let people decide for themselves. That's the way I would like to do it. And I appreciate like you guys, like Mexican Iron Man and Tom, what you guys are saying. I'm not really doing anything special. I'm just like by profession, I'm a psychologist. I listen to people, and that's really, I just listen to them and let them speak and provide what they feel is a safe space, which inevitably, for a teeny tiny little channel, we're drawing. A lot of people come to me, and we sit on a lot of stuff that we're not sure about going there yet.
Right.
But it's not really explosive stuff. But there's people who feel safe in our environment, and we don't have the hashtag fandom menace for that very reason that we want to be neutral. So.
Right.
I have another quick question. Now, if someone you're interviewing like that, being a psychologist, if they seem a little nutty in whatever way that is a trait of whatever that you happen to know about, right? Do you step aside from that and try to avoid it because you think that it will go better if you just avoid the whole thing? Or do you try to like push into that a little bit to see what they say?
See, in general, we invite people who we haven't had really too many controversial figures on. So I'm not sure how to if I'm going to answer that question the way you want. But even if we had somebody who was more controversial, I think what we would do is we would really just let them talk about what they want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And at certain points, we would interject and push the matter on certain points. Like you said, there may be points that need to be pushed. Like we had some very friendly interviews with Alan Dean Foster, and he said to us prior that he didn't want to make it a big deal about certain issues, but we touched upon certain things at the end of the interview, like the first interview we did with him. I said, I don't want to really push this too much with you. He said, after feeling, like he was comfortable, he said, go ahead, push, ask me anything. And so you have to you really need to make people feel comfortable. And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question the way you want, Jesse, but
no, that's insightful.
Mm-hmm.
You make me think of a sales tactic called read, relate, relax, where you lie about being having something in common with someone in order to get them to buy stuff.
Well, I would like to think that we're authentic, but
from an observational standpoint, I can say this about you guys over there, PJ, is you really just let the individuals kind of, they volunteer the information, because like this Andrew Moody interview is a great example. You just kind of set him off by asking, what was your experience like on Discovery? And he's the one who just kind of was like, this is what it was like. And by the end of the interview, I mean, other people had kind of insinuated on the panel of who it could have been, but he didn't really confirm or deny. Let's put it that way.
And you guys may have not picked up on it, but he didn't start talking about Star Trek. No. He started talking about J.J. Abrams. Mm-hmm. And he was
vocal. Yeah, maybe because I jumped into it, but like
he was vocal about J.J., maybe even more so about the fact that, and he likes J.J. Abrams as a person, but he was critiquing him professionally.
Well, and I remind people like that all the time because, we try to be as fair and balanced as we can as well over on Midnight's Edge. And even though we do deal and dabble within the fandom menace, it's like it's never been something that we've been directly had in like, our Twitter or anything like that, to where the hashtag is something that we've always boasted as us being this thing. And we were around before the Phantom Menace. So
you guys do a great job.
Not even in the Phantom Menace. So
I mean, we are adjacent to, however you want to put it, or I love to say adjunct to, like Amy Pascal does. But Nerd Cookies, our good friend Elaine, how you doing? Says PJ's channel is awesome. Got me into Orville. Heart. Yes, that is awesome to hear because Orville rocks. And Jack, and Jack Beers, says, go PJ, nice to see you on Midnight's Edge. Well, it's not the first time PJ's been here, and you never know. I'm sure he may even pop up on the main channel soon too. So just keep an eye out for that. Then we got Kenneth LaRock says, I've liked Alan Dean Foster since I was a kid back in the 70s. Yeah, Alan was great. And again, like I said, I can't thank PJ enough for hooking us up with him.
And we should
to talk about that. Yeah.
Tom, we should probably just remind everybody that Alan just put out his new book about his about everything, really.
Oh wow, cool. I know he was
Sure.
talking about that. I'll have to get that. Thanks for letting me know that's out. So yeah, if anybody wants to share the link for that, we can get that out in the chat there. That'd be great. But yeah, so getting us back to this, PJ. So yeah, you like you just said, I guess. So you were talking to Andrew about some other stuff, and he kind of stumbled in or just kind of jumped to what it was like working on Discovery. So kind of give us a breakdown of that situation.
Well, I think it was. I think it has a lot to do. There's a duality here. We're in the process of praising Joe Malazzi, Stargate executive producer, Dark Matter creator, Utopia Falls showrunner. He has been there are 17 seasons of Stargate, guys. And Joseph has been involved with almost all of that.
I had no idea there were that many.
Well, there's how many different really shows technically, because there was the original show. Oh, go ahead, PJ. You know this better. So,
well, there's 10 of SG1. There's 10 of Stargate SG1. There's 5 of Atlantis, and there's 2 of SGU, Stargate Universe. And Joseph Malazzi has been, essential in all of those, along with Brad Wright and Robert C. Cooper and so basically what we're doing on the show is we're this is a kind of a celebration of Dark Matter, which is a show that I love. And it's Joe's baby, and Andrew Moody is basically just praising Joseph Malazzi, and as he's praising Joseph Malazzi, he's just remembering, oh my God, if I compare it to what happened in Star Trek, it was horrific. I mean, they replaced his voice if you have he's a Canadian icon, and they go ahead and replace his voice because he's not good enough for Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a very eye-opening.
Seems like a weird way to waste money.
Well, it wasn't just that; it was the way he painted the environment, and it was exactly the type of environment that we had been reporting on for years here at Midnight's Edge, and it was—I don't know if I want to use the term ironic, but it was vindicating for sure. When to hear him say this stuff, not for oh yeah, we're right kind of thing, but yeah, it was finally somebody is telling it the truth. And because we've been, we've had a lot of accusations tossed at us for years.
About the stuff. A lot. How about a mountain buttload, truckload, dumpster? I mean, dude, you guys have been taking so much heat. I don't know how you and Andre have done it.
And that's, the thing is, what we've heard is that it's been nothing but terrorizing to work on the set. And you're right. When they would turn around and Script was even just appalled when he heard about it, that the voice had been replaced, because he's like, whoever they got was really good, because he knows this guy personally. So he's like, they didn't even go out of their way to get a completely different voice or anything like that. They literally got somebody who sounds just like him to do it. So it was just almost like an insult Script was insinuating, it seemed like to me.
And then what there's a bigger insult there too, because Jonathan Frakes, who probably should be running, one of the people who could be running Star Trek.
Agreed.
He wraps up filming. He loves Andrew's performance, and once he's gone from Toronto and he's not there anymore. Certain people, these people come in. Obviously, we know who it is, and they override Jonathan Frakes.
Well, let's be real. Jonathan Frakes at this point is basically just a work-for-hire director. He doesn't really get a lot of input on anything. He doesn't really get a lot of say on anything. I'm sure he had probably more say over probably certain things with how his character was handled than anything else in Picard. But even there, it sounds like a lot of the same kind of shit that we were hearing from Star Trek Discovery and we had heard before. In some cases, even worse. And then now we're even, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I know we're even hearing some worse shit now about Strange New Worlds coming up. But I mean, I've already reported on personally the stuff that I've heard about Akiva Goldsman and Kurtzman and how they're handling things, and all that stuff probably trickles down, I'd imagine. If you've got heads of the show or the team leaders not getting along, and then they got the two individuals on the left there, I can't remember their name offhand, but they were let go early on for the specific reasons that Andrew was saying, is because they were being accused by a lot of other people for being tyrants And I got to imagine, though, the thing is I think they got rid of them in like, I think season 1. I got to go back and look. But I think Andrew was talking about season 2, so I don't even think they were around anymore is the point I was getting to.
Yeah, I was a little I wanted to also go back and look at that timeline because of exactly what you're saying. Who exactly is there at that time, at that moment? And it is possible too that they could be, you know, how they said that they started, we're going to start filming season 2 right when they when season 3 when season 1 was finishing up. Maybe it was that, you know, maybe they were maybe there's that really gray area of a time where certain people were around and others were coming in.
In the chat, they're asking what made them be classified as tyrants. What were they doing?
I might have to go back and look. I think they're Harbor and something. I can't remember their name. I'll go look here in a minute. I want to grab these real quick. Kenneth LaRock says, I just ordered the book. Thank you so much, Kenneth. He's talking about Alan's book. I definitely want to get my hands on that. And then Stephanie Janicek, our good friend, says, great stuff, guys. And we're glad to have you here in the chat as well. Let me see. I'm trying to remember their names. But they were pretty publicly let go. And damn it. What was
Talking about the showrunners?
Well, they were the showrunners for the first season.
Their names are Old Blonde Lady and I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Irishy guy.
It was a man and a woman. Yeah.
Oh, Berg and Herberts. That's what it is. Gretchen Berg and Aaron Herberts. Okay, and they were let go. Let's see here. 2018. Franchise according.
So as soon as they're let go is when Andrew says that, you know, he feels he even felt threatened by the new people who were running the show.
This was in the middle of season 1 or 2.
1.
Wait. Discovery now on planned production hiatus after episode 5. Okay, was this in the middle of season 2? What episode was he on?
New Eden.
Which one? Which number numerically?
But you know what? I'm not sure what number it is, but it doesn't it might not even be filmed in that order. So.
True. Good point. It could be around the same time. I'm not 100% on that.
In any case, PJ, go back to the story because it was a great interview.
Please. Sorry.
Well, I mean, basically, this guy this guy did an amazing role. He's become one of my favorite actors. He did an amazing role in Dark Matter. He plays Teku. Who is Rio's mentor, and so when he was doing Star Trek, he was very, it seemed like he was very excited when he got the Star Trek job. He's very enthusiastic about it. It seemed like he had high expectations. He was excited about working with Jonathan Frakes and the rest of the crew. He loved the other actors. He loved the crew. He loved everybody working there. But the problem, he just pointed out that there was a writer's room that was constantly in flux, I think was the word he used. And the pressure that was on the writer's room from above and the pressure that came up from above on everybody, that was a problem. The writer's room and the pressure from above.
So just huge turnover rate in here, piece this together and do a show and do it as fast as possible. I don't care if it even makes sense.
Yeah, I don't actually have that much information about it personally, so I'm trying not to speak for him.
Right.
But apparently, we all know that there's two. First of all, if you ask a lot of showrunners, which we have on our show, what do you think about Star Trek? I mean, they all say the same thing. There's too many freaking writers in that room.
Yeah, well, they got
turnover.
How many producers on the show? On top of the Walter Mosley situation, which is also echoed kind of in the what's his face situation, the Shaban.
If you have too many producers, they're not producing very well, are they?
No. Well, and that's the thing is everybody was kind of excited about Michael Chabon coming onto Picard. And those who know his work are just like, where is Chabon in any of this? And he left. So I think, and we now know that Goldsman came in and revamped the entire last part of the show. So that's probably where Chabon left. So you got two very prominent people that are veterans that whether or not you agree with any of the politics involved, that's not the point. Point is Chabon was bad enough, but Mosley is the one that sticks out to everybody because he wasn't even allowed to express himself in the writer's room. And he's a very prolific writer. And when you got somebody like that speaking out, and he was even classy enough not to mention the show. It was CBS that came out in some defensive fashion for some fucking reason, even though they didn't even have to. They could have kept their mouth shut, even though us in this community knew exactly what he was talking about. It didn't matter. They just could have kept their mouth shut, and it would have just kind of rolled over, and nobody would have known. But now this is all getting out there more and more, and this is what we've been trying to say all this time: is there's this concerted effort to try and shut us up and not get the truth out there. And this show that's like boasting this idea that it's this grandiose platform for diversity and all that.
It's a lefty utopia.
I mean, I don't see how Mosley got fired. I mean, if you're all diversity inclusion,
he didn't technically get fired. He quit.
He quit. Okay, so he quit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wonder what he's feeling. I'd love to interview him.
Oh, I'd love to interview him. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'd love to interview him.
The thing is, I think Mosley's classy enough that he's said everything he's going to say about it.
God,
I think
he's such a great guy.
Probably.
That guy.
Because he was, like I said, even in the like one or two interviews I saw with him, he was very sure to not hint at or insinuate who it was he was working with. I mean, there was a couple things he was working on, but pretty obvious what it was with the time.
Yeah,
and we all figured it out. And that's probably what prompted CBS to come out all defensively. But you know what? All that did was show their hand. You know,
Yeah.
So
Tom, I don't want to seem like I'm shifting from the topic here, but there is something that's been flying under the radar with concerning Star Trek, and that is the new showrunner for Picard season 2, who's named as Terry Matalas. And this is somebody who has been, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he's been he worked with Rick Berman. He worked on Enterprise and Voyager. And he was a very junior person on that show, but I'm holding out some hope that somebody like him has been chosen by Paramount to kind of unify, the newer fan, like maybe if there are newer fans, and the old, kind of unite the fandom a little bit.
What do you guys
think about that?
And this is kind of and again, this is, don't go run into the bank with this, anybody out there, but this kind of goes off of some things that I think might be going on. I think Paramount is writing out this contract, and as soon as this contract is done, we're going to whammo get Nicholas Meyer coming back to do his Khan miniseries, which is going to kind of put everything back into the original kind of timeline again. And yeah, maybe they brought this guy on because they wanted some blood from the classic Trek. Like, Goldsman is a funky kind of situation, because from what I was gathering, from what I was hearing and putting together between behind the scenes stuff and talking to Robert Meyer Bennett and a few other people, what he knew, it sure did feel like Goldsman was pulling a lot of power plays behind the scenes on Kurtzman. Because it sounded like Strange New Worlds was Goldsman's baby, and Kurtzman was not too happy about it. And it's not so much that the show he didn't want, but I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's this 5-show deal where they cannot have more than 5 shows in production at a time.
Oh, really?
And so I think what happened is Strange New Worlds took precedent over Section 31, and that pissed Kurtzman off. And then Kurtzman has been getting a lot of flack lately about Clarice, and negotiations broke down about that. So I'm sure there's a lot more to that than just Clarice. I have a feeling that a lot of it has to do with Kurtzman's possibly, and this goes into what we were reporting, and he does not have the power he used to be. And now that he has those 5 shows on the air, they're telling him, I think, that once those shows are done, we're done.
Maybe that's the silver lining of all this. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
I mean,
hope
like, they
that's
let the
case.
show go on for way too many seasons, way more than it deserved.
Well, and the only thing I have
And
to support that is
his star faded because of it.
the only thing I really have to support it out in the public is that, you know, the situation with Robert Meyer Burnett and how Robert was basically shut down by CBS, and then he got a letter or an email or whatever from Nicholas Meyer. To me, that feels like there's something to it, because otherwise, if it was a dead project, why would he care?
Exactly.
Why would CBS care?
Months ago, and you just brought it up. I was going to say it a couple of minutes ago, but I remember very vividly, Tom, when you and Andre were doing the show, however many weeks, months ago it was now, discussing the issue that either you guys had heard or read somewhere in the trades. I don't recall what the issue was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that Kurtzman had some kind of 5-show deal.
Yeah,
and that it was running its course, and I remember at the time thinking to myself, you know, kind of drawing a parallel here in terms of exactly what you just said. We're kind of reaching that point. What PJ I think was just kind of getting to, just like with Star Wars. You know, the fans have gotten beat up so hard so long. You reach a point where the money men or money women, I don't care which, not to offend anyone, but the money guys out there are going to step in and go, okay, you know, we've got to get to a point back where this can become profitable. And you have Star Trek, like Star Wars, being a very historically valuable intellectual property that is just not, frankly, turning the ROI on that Paramount would expect at this point. Same as what Disney would have expected from the Lucasfilm franchises, the Star Wars franchises. Yeah. And, you know, like what PJ said, I think, yeah, I mean, I agree with him. PJ comes from a psychology world, and PJ, I just subscribed to your channel. I'd seen some of your videos before, but for whatever reason, I guess I had never subbed. I just did. So
thanks, man.
Go out there and do it. It's great stuff. But I totally agree. And everybody out there who's, you know, seen the stuff I put out, I'm no fan of Kathleen Kennedy. But if I had an opportunity to sit down with her and Pablo Hidalgo and do an interview, oh, you're damn right I would. Because I think there's and it's not just about views and clicks. I think there's an opportunity there to get a fascinating learning opportunity.
Yeah, but you'd never be able to get an interview with that type of a person, because you'd have to have all of your questions pre-approved and altered and edited. Then you'd only be able to ask certain kinds of questions. You'd be surprised,
Jesse, because I'll get to the money thing again. And here's my problem with Paramount. Here's my reservations. I'd like to believe that's the case, Valiant. But the problem with that is, and I've heard things when I was digging into Ninja Turtles and stuff, Paramount don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah,
I
understand.
Completely fucking oblivious to everything here, and that's why I'm hoping that they're kind of noticing the Star Trek thing. But when I heard that stuff about Ninja Turtles, I'm like, God, this Star Trek shit makes more sense than anything, because they have one of the most lucrative franchises on the planet in Ninja Turtles, and they don't know how to handle it.
Well, just to be clear, when I say the money men, the money women, the money people, whatever we want to say, I'm not talking about necessarily the executives at these studios. I'm talking about the fact that these are still publicly traded companies. And the people that really make the decisions, the people who get to decide who is the CEO, the people that get to decide who sits on the board of directors, these are the large institutional money managers. These are the people that you know, in my world as a financial professional for almost 20 years now, like Andre. These are the Vanguards, the American funds, the BlackRocks, the State Streets, all these big institutional money managers that, generally speaking, you put 5 or 6 of these big mutual fund companies together, and they'll wind up owning 10 to 15, maybe 20% of the outstanding common stock that has voting power in these companies. These are the guys that have the power. And just like I think where a lot of pressure is coming from Disney at this point, where, okay, you know, these money managers were all on board when you dropped $4.05 billion on Lucasfilm, and that didn't turn out the way that the financial analysts expected at all. I think you're seeing the same thing now, potentially, or hopefully at least, coming forward with companies like Viacom, CBS, Paramount, all these other people out there that have these valuable intellectual properties, and it's like, guys, where's the ROI on this stuff? Because these big investors, these are the ones that are really pushing the buttons. You know, at the end of the day, it's a lot longer train to go through. It doesn't happen overnight, but over the course of many years, you start seeing those changes, and I think, you know, maybe that's where some of this pressure is coming from. Again, just guessing, you know, just putting a little professional experience behind
I think
it.
you're
But I think that's
100% right, and yeah, they have the power, You're in finance, I'm in tax. Yeah, they have the power, but here's the problem: by the time they get around to worrying about the hour, the rope noose is extremely generous with with patience and waiting, because you get 1 quarter. I mean, take a look at Disney. You and I did a pretty hardcore analysis.
Yep.
On the on the quarterly reports of Disney, we did what, 2 or 3 quarters at that time we did that, right?
Yeah, we went back, I think, a whole fiscal year, maybe.
Yeah, and so and one of the things we uncovered is we exposed a lot of the trickery that they do in terms of being able to still have earnings per share and being able to still talk about dividends and not be too far off of quote expectations. The problem is they may have the power, but it's just the disparity of gap between those of us that are suffering down here, on a daily basis, yearning, starving, waiting for good content, hanging on. And thank God there's YouTube channels like, Midnight Said and all you guys. I mean, what PJ does, what everybody does online, because we're at least able to be entertained. But we're in a valley of just misery down here, suffering, and the ones with the true power don't get around. They let 2 quarters go, 3 quarters go, maybe 4 or 5 quarters, before they're finally like, okay, something's got to happen here.
And what drives me nuts is that manipulating a stock price should be so illegal, but when you're a big company, it's all good.
Well, look, it takes a long time to turn a ship this big. It's like anything else. This is not something that happens overnight, just like we talk about with any movie production out there. We hear news and rumors of things coming up that, oh, this is what they're working on, or this is in development. When you're at that point, you're talking about anywhere from 2 to 5 years on average, to where you're going from the point of having a rumor come out that something is in development to where, if it actually comes to fruition, that it does. So it's a long gestational process to get from that point, and especially when it comes to making major changes, at least in leadership, and changing a big company like a Disney or a Viacom CBS or anything of that nature. It's you have to sit back and be patient, and I know that's hard for us as fans to do, and I understand that, because we're all just sitting down here, like you said, Mike. We're suffering through the pardon my French, we're suffering through the dog shit that's being shoveled at us right now. But that being said, just like PJ was talking about, if he had a chance to interview, and it probably wouldn't be, if he did, if Kurtzman would call him up tomorrow and say, yes, I'd love to sit down because I want everybody to know what really happened, chances are, number one, it's never going to happen until after he's officially gone from that employment, that contract, number one. Number two, just like anybody else in that position, they're going to be under a pretty restrictive lifetime or very long period of time non-disclosure agreement, NDA. There's only so much they're going to be able to say. But still, the conversation would be fascinating. But for the fans out there, we're not always going to get the satisfaction we want to see guys like, Kurtzman, or to see ladies like Kathleen Kennedy, get put in Hollywood handcuffs and marched out and just shamed in public and, thrown, rotten eggs at and all this. That's never going to happen. We're going to have to be satisfied with just the changes happening slowly over time, and hopefully keeping our fingers crossed that we get the good content that we want, because if the ultimate goal is to get good Star Trek,
you just made them all sound so utterly inept at their jobs.
Well, and I was just going to say this, like going back to what PJ initially asked, and going back to what he was saying about if he were to ever be able to interview, any of these people, I'm willing to give Kurtzman somewhat of a benefit of the doubt that a lot of what he had to deal with came from the top down, right? Like, I'm sure he had like a lot of restrictions, like they want this Star Trek to be what you guys did over there for, the JJ universe, and we want it to be this, and we want it to be that, and it's got to be all this inclusivity and all these things that he probably got piled on him. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt of that. But
actually,
the problem,
go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, but the problem with that, though, is then his track record doesn't fit that. But go ahead, PJ.
Actually, from things that I've heard that we can't talk about, even Kurtzman has been, I think you're absolutely right. Even Kurtzman has had stuff piled on him from above that he has to comply with.
And he's one that, like JJ, like I pointed out before, these guys are a little bulletproof. Now, Kurtzman's took a few bullets in the last few months. I don't know if anybody besides the few members on the panel and in the chat, but PJ, if you remember, I don't know, but Entertainment Weekly just completely drug him through the gravel on that Clarice review. And that was a very public, big, publication doing that for once. And it wasn't us. And if you read that review, it almost sounded like someone like us or Doomcock wrote that damn thing.
Well, it was a terrible
savage.
idea.
Well, not just the fact that they were killing Clarice, Jesse, but it was they went after everything he had done prior. Like they even went as far as to say that they should never let this person ever touch a franchise ever again. Like these are the kind of things that we say. You know what I mean? Like I'll admit some of the things we go to are probably a little
Hollywood
hyperbolic.
exile should be a thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like we get a little hyperbolic here, but we don't expect these people to be completely exiled out of Hollywood. Like
I don't think it's hyperbolic at all to say that they need to do like a Napoleon and just make them go live on an island by themselves.
Look, my point is this: Kurtzman is obviously talented enough that he's gotten himself to this point that I can give him the benefit of the doubt that if he was working on something of his own that was original, he'd probably do just fine. But I'm with the mind of this guy has not proven to me that he can work within a franchise and actually reinvigorate it the way that Hollywood, quote unquote, sees J.J. Abrams doing it. Now, here's the thing with J.J. Abrams. He's good at getting in there, getting shit done, and then he leaves while the getting's good, or makes himself put in a position like with Star Wars where they're coming to him to save the day.
And that's fine. That's fine. But that just means he's doing the wrong job. He shouldn't be the director. He should just be a producer. And
he probably should be, but it doesn't matter. He's got himself where he's at now, for better or for worse. But no, PJ, you had another
he's got the big money
gig.
You're never going to give it up.
Hopefully you didn't forget what that question was, PJ.
Well, no, I just before I was just agreeing with you that Kurtzman, and like Tom, like we were talking about Doomcock or I forget who it was. We all sit on stuff because all this stuff comes to us, and Tom sits on more than most people probably. But there's stuff we can't talk about, but we hear a lot of stuff that I've heard a lot of stuff that Kurtzman has taken a lot of crap, and regardless what you might think of him. He's probably had to deal with a lot of shit himself.
Now, that may speak to him more as a leader. If he's getting a lot of flack and he's taking it out on his employees, that could, I don't know if you agree with this at all, PJ or Valiant or Mike or anybody else or Jesse even, who anybody who's ever had to be in, a leader position before, you got to learn to take the brunt of shit and not pass it along.
Yeah, it's called accountability.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand that. I think that's a great point. Great point, Tom. Is that for all the faults, for all the, we as fans look at the body of work that a guy like Kurtzman has produced. Okay, great, but if there's issues that are getting passed down the line and there's a level of frustration, kind of along the same lines that we saw just a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks ago now with James Mangold, which I know is coming up. A good nice segue to the next segment, where somebody just made a comment online about concerned about Indiana Jones. Well, 1, 2, 3, and then the director of the movie comes in and just goes into a 12-hour on and off Twitter tirade.
It was actually a little more than that, but yeah,
more than that. So that's my point. Is that at that level where you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar franchise and a multi-billion-dollar, business like Paramount Studios. Sorry, but your level of professionalism needs to be elevated slightly above that of McDonald's manager.
Yeah, I agree with that fully. And furthermore, if you are in charge of a project with that much money behind it, why are you on Twitter? What are you doing? Shouldn't you be working?
That was, and if Tom might remember, I don't remember which show it was. It might have been Toxic Femmes or something. I made a comment to somebody that night when that thing broke, and I said, rule number 1, if you're in charge of a $250 million Hollywood production budget film, stay the fuck off Twitter. I mean, that's it.
It's idea.
That's the easiest way to solve that problem. It's like I dumped Facebook 6 months ago because I just got tired of the crap.
And you know what?
And it's
if
like,
you're
I don't
using
care.
it for a DM machine, basically, to keep in touch with people, fine. Now, let's say you want to look up the hashtag for the movie you're running. You see something you don't like, you know what you should do? You should say to yourself, fuck that guy. Put the phone back in your pocket and then go be encouraged to go make the movie you're making better so that guy looks like a jerk.
Right.
Well, now we're starting to learn why Mangold might have had some extra time on his hands. And you're right. That is a perfect segue, Valiant. Troy Pacelli says, all my favorite YouTubers in one place tonight. Well, thank you for that, Troy. We appreciate you being here. And I did share the link to
favorites.
Yeah, I hope so. We did share the link to PJ's channel as well. If you guys were so kind to head on over there and check that out.
Can I just say, Tom, make
Please.
sure everybody subs to Troy Pacelli's channel.
Oh, does Troy actually do some content?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Troy is a great dude. Troy is a great
I've talked
guest.
to him before, but I did not know that he actually did his own content. Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will definitely check that out.
Absolutely.
Mr. Tickle Trunk says, I'm sending this so Tom can forget about it and leave this super chat up for an hour. P.S. Bubes. Well, guess what, Mr. Tickle Trunk? Joke's on you. Got to it right away. And yeah, I'm going to take it off the screen now just to despite you. No.
But the next one he'll leave up for like 5 hours.
Yeah, Mr. Tickle Trunk though is kicking ass and taking names. I know I think 6 was in there earlier too, and I know we got all kinds of great wrenches in here. You guys do a great job. It's a thankless job, and we appreciate it 110%.
Amen.
But yeah, PJ, anything more to say about this Star Trek business before we move into the next story, or anything to tease, or anything else to talk about?
I'm just gonna say this, that like we were saying, that people like Gary, Doomcock, Tom, Andre, Paulie, like we all sit on a lot of stuff, and once something is okay to put out there, we engage it, and I will just say that there seems to be a lot more on the horizon with regards to these topics coming.
Yeah, really, and I think NDAs are probably going to be drying up here soon, and a few other things. So, and Bob, no, Cecil's not here, but I can channel him for a minute.
Hello, how you doing?
Wow, that was pretty good.
Hi, Jesse.
Hello.
Hello.
That's scary.
Buy my book; it won't ever come out. But tonight is the last night you can get it. 2 a.m. No more.
Cecil is really George R.R. Martin, the book that will never come out.
Okay, no.
Well, there's no point now.
It's hard when I do. For some reason, when I get into Cecil, it's just Cecil comes out. I don't know. Maybe I can just channel him. I don't get it. Maybe when I'm doing that, he just has like these weird things where he's sitting in his chair. He's like, "Hi, everybody."
You don't have
and
an
then
odd
he's just like
couple of ski masks sitting around the house, do you, Tom?
And then he's just paralyzed for that entire time. And then as soon as he comes out, he's like,
"What the fuck was that?"
It's kind of almost a Rip Torn impression, right?
But not as gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Cecil is all about the pussy as long as it pays. I know that much. All right, kids. Let's get into this James Mangold situation. For those who aren't up to speed, we kind of talked a little bit about it so far, but our buddy Matthew Kadish, who just can't seem to stay out of trouble on Twitter. He does it at least a couple times a year. Rip Taylor's up here. Like, anyway, I just had to do that because people keep saying it in the chat. Indiana Jones 5's James Mangold responds after report indicates that there's serious Harrison Ford injury. Now, we were insinuating that the reason why Mangold probably had some time on his hands and could have been a little upset and was out on Twitter kind of on a tirade was because this rumor, and it started as a rumor, folks. So this actually does kind of confirm the rumor that Harrison Ford was hurt. Because when that news came out, it was not an official release.
Look, it's not my fault. I'm an old man.
I belong in a museum.
I've been in 8 plane crashes. All my fault.
But I walked away from them all. I said, get off my plane. I didn't realize I did it to myself. Anyway, so yeah, needless to say, after his tirade online, he says that we're shooting all good, but thanks.
You know who's not having a tirade online? Harrison Ford. You know why? Because he doesn't give a shit.
Well, this was response to our
Yeah,
buddy.
probably not.
The funny thing is this was in response to our buddy Tom Conkle's post about all this stuff here. But yeah, so according to him, they're still shooting, but I don't think that's the case. But
no ticket.
no ticket.
Well, it's a very nuanced.
Wait, are you saying
tweet.
you don't believe what someone in Hollywood says, Tom? But Tom, that's where we turn to learn how to be better people.
And Max Relax says with €5, the fancy stuff. Fly, yes. Land, no. I'm making it up as I go.
I didn't know you could fly a plane.
I can't. Can
I
you?
never had to stop for fuel with the Millennium Falcon.
What's this shit about
Until
fuel?
Solo.
Altimeter my ass.
It's
Flux
a very
capacitor,
nuanced.
Fluxing.
It's a very nuanced tweet, isn't it? We're still filming. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're filming every scene
Well, I
they
guess
possibly
it wasn't really
can.
a confirmation, but yeah, it's just come on.
Yeah.
The best thing to say would have been like, look, for this movie, the script was actually finished before we started filming, so we're doing good. So just lay off. Everything's cool. Got this.
Jesse's not wrong. Not with Lucasfilm having
But
that
dude,
script. We had a
always
script finished
finish the
before the
script.
cameras rolled.
Well,
We're
mind
good.
you, this was back on June 30th when he said this. So
But then they're like, well,
That
the
was,
cast
24
mainly
hours ago.
improvised this whole movie. Like, it's a good thing. No, just write the movie, you lazy bastards.
Yeah, I mean, he tweets that yesterday. So, and of course, and this is what I found interesting. And we went from phase one was Harrison, okay, well, let me go back before that. Phase one was we're starting shooting next week. That was like June 1st. So we know that by June 10th, they were on the ground. They were at Pinewood Studios, and the Aries were rolling. And then a week or two after that, we got Harrison Ford injured on set. And then a few days after that, it turned into Harrison Ford's going to require surgery and maybe be out. And the crew was told that there would be an absence of 4 to 5 weeks or potential cessation of shooting for 4 to 5 weeks. And then we got the article from The Sun. And again, it's The Sun. It's a tabloid. However, they have been posting originally some photos from, set leak photos. So, they apparently got somebody there.
Paparazzi be crazy.
Yeah, and that it would be up to 3 months. Now, that didn't mean that shooting was going to stop instantly that day that Harrison Ford got hurt. I'm sure they have a slate of things that they can shoot that doesn't involve him in the scenes, but at some point, they're going to run out of shit to shoot while Harrison Ford is still in recovery. And then, I did a discussion on what the business implications were from the insurance claims potential and everything else and how this gets handled. But yeah, I mean, I think there's something here, and the fact that Mangold did not specifically say, oh, Harrison's fine. He's not going to be gone 3 months. We're going to get him back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He just said, we're still shooting. It's good.
What do you guys
What are you
think?
shooting? I mean, you're shooting the scenes that doesn't have Harrison Ford, but in a week or two when those scenes are shot and it runs out and thumbs up the butts for the rest of the crew at a rate of what? $2 million a day? For a
Oh,
crew like
yeah.
that?
Those guys are getting paid, right?
Yeah, no, they're under contract. They get paid whether they're sitting around shooting or they're sitting around reading the latest issue of Batwoman. It just doesn't matter. They're getting paid. Yeah.
What do you
Probably
guys
watching
think?
Midnight Edge.
What do you guys think? Let me ask this question to all you guys. What do you guys think about the possibility that, depending on his recovery time, that they might have to write his injury into the script?
Oh, that would be
absolutely.
lame sauce.
Yeah. Well, I think PJ, what I think might be more likely, and this kind of goes into the business side of insurance. And for those of you out there that don't understand, all these kind of big productions, they have production insurance, or sometimes more commonly referred to as cast insurance. And just so y'all know, I've been in the insurance industry for almost 20 years. I'm a licensed insurance producer. I've never written a production insurance, a Hollywood production insurance contract that's highly specialized. But insurance all generally works the same way. And the way this coverage works, if something happens to where a cast or crew member gets injured, that medical injury tends to be covered by the insurance. They pay for that. So if Harrison Ford is on a plane flying back to the U.S. or going to Germany or somewhere else or to get the surgery, that insurance generally picks up the tab. But that's not the big cost involved. The big cost involved is the loss of time of production. And that's where the big money is going to get doled out by these insurance companies, and you better believe they're probably scrutinizing everything that would have happened. But yes, to PJ's point, on that vein, is that, yes, I think it is possible in order to mitigate the losses that going forward, like, if Indiana Jones, if Harrison Ford was injured in the process of filming a scene or rehearsing a scene that was, action-based, stunt-based, it's very possible they're not going to let him do that anymore. And it's not going to be dictated by the studio. It's going to be dictated by the underwriter, by the insurance underwriter.
Now, I got an idea on this whole thing. You guys ever crack a bullwhip?
Yep.
It's all in the hips, big shoulder motion.
Yep.
He might have done something cracking the whip.
Probably.
Could have been.
Man, look, I'm a lot younger than Harrison Ford. I just cannot imagine doing any of my own scenes at the age that he's currently at. And I'm not saying I'm in great shape. But
Oh yeah, he's
in great
manly
shape
fella.
for his age. Like, that's the thing. Is
Absolutely.
we're getting accused of ageism here, but it's like, no, we're being realists.
Hey, he's still giving it to
most of these guys on the panel
He's
are
like
over
half his age.
Most of these guys on the panel are over 40, and some of us are overweight. So trust us, we know what it's like when you hit a certain age. Just shit don't, you can be good as you once was, but you ain't good all the time as you once was. That's for sure.
Mexican Iron Man can personally attest there's only one thing on my body that still works as good as it did in the 20s.
Well,
It's not just that; it's the recovery time, Tom. It's the injury that you sustain.
Oh, you're talking about the injury. Never mind.
Yeah, the injury, not Mike's junk. I don't want to go. You need Mike to shut the fuck up
Not
at
the
this point.
burrito.
Well, the people in Valiant, the people in chat never know when you're going to bring up my private parts. They don't know. They don't know which show, which channel. It could be any time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mexican Iron Man has a new OnlyFans channel called The Limp Burrito. You may go subscribe to it this weekend.
Hey, wait a minute. Memberships are now available for $5.99 on a monthly basis. You can gain access to Mexican Iron Man's private.
Give him ideas, Valiant.
You could call it the Chicano Chimichanga.
PJ, you're about to say something.
I was just gonna say I saw a very impressive lightsaber duel between Paulie and Mexican Iron Man.
I saw that. It was
Paulie
great.
whopped his ass.
Yeah,
What?
right out in Paul's
Paulie
front
didn't
yard.
take me, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm kidding. You whopped his ass.
Paulie is on tape going, my finger. Dude, I even tripped.
Watch that whole 6.
I even tripped in Paulie's little tomato garden or whatever the heck he has growing in his front yard. You know how Mexicans always grow stuff. He's got a little cute little. He's got this amazing little landscape.
You trampled his wife's garden.
Dude, I trampled, fell down, got back up like the Jedi Mexican taco warrior I am. Next thing you here's how it sounded. It went, my finger.
Bring us the video on that. I want to see that again. Blue Satoshi says, I'll tell you what they're shooting themselves in the foot. Oh,
yeah, for real.
Yeah. Somebody asked for.
It's only funny if somebody's injured if you see it coming beforehand and they don't.
Well,
like there's this. Can I tell a little story?
Sure.
All right. When I was a little kid, I was in Boy Scouts, right? So I went to Boy Scout camp, and then there was this older kid who was like, I don't know what the hell they called the teachers, but there's one of those underground beehives, and he's got a bottle full of gasoline, and he goes with his lighter, and I was thinking to myself, he's about to burn the shit out of himself because he didn't pour that in the hole first, and I was just thinking, I'm not going to say anything because he should know this, and then he burned the shit out of himself. Only on his hand. It wasn't terrible. It's not like it exploded.
But no, like that's the thing is these kind of situations. Harrison Ford was hurt on The Force Awakens, but the difference there is he spent a lot of his time in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, sitting on his ass.
Right, he wasn't the focus of the movie.
And not just that, but yeah, he wasn't also the focus of the movie. It was a little easier to hide the injury. They can continue shooting with it.
Now, another thing about insurance and having it and not having it. Now, if you're an actor, I mean, I'm sure you buy your own insurance, but like you probably don't go to the doctor that much and just wait for shit to build up, especially if you're getting older. And then if it happens to throw out your back on the movie set, then you're not really paying for it.
Well, the coverage that you're getting, the production insurance will cover the medical cost of that injury, but the production insurance is mostly designed to protect the production itself. So in this case, just to put some numbers on it so the audience can kind of understand, principal photography for a movie of this scale is generally going to be probably at least 60 days easily, up to 90 days. Okay, so if they're talking about a potential delay of up to and including 90 days within 2 weeks of them starting rolling cameras, that's messed up. And the company, the production company, like I said, to shell out a couple $100,000 for Harrison Ford to go get the surgery wherever he's doing it, that's poo. I mean, that's bubblegum money, okay? What they're worried about is the delay of the production, because Lucasfilm Disney still has to pay the sound engineers, the camera operators, the grips, everybody,
100
the coffee
carpenters.
runners. Yeah, 100 carpenters. It's still costing them $1 million, $2 million a day to be out there. And
Well,
that
I believe
contract
it.
and that
Because
contract gets
now these
paid
guys
whether
who
they're
work in
shooting or
Hollywood.
not. And if they're not shooting and they file an insurance claim, then the insurance claim is making up, even if it's just 30 days.
Right.
Then the insurance company's paying out $30 to $50 million, $60 million maybe, for those lost days to
Right.
Disney.
Right.
So and then it's not just that. You also have to realize that these people can't just sit around and then come back 30 to 60 days later. They're booked on other gigs. So then they have to
True.
go out and get other people to come back in. So this is potentially, if he's really out that long, even if it's just 5 or 6 weeks, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Because there's only so much you can shoot right now before it's like, well, shit, there's nothing left to shoot without Harrison.
And
Yeah,
what
or you
Valiant's
just eat up 90% of the budget.
right, and what Valiant's talking about is something that Tom, and I've heard Script mention it many times. I'm sure PJ, has an awareness of this too. These things stop, and God, you need the planets to align again just to get them restarted, and that's why there's that old saying. Tom, how does that old saying go in Hollywood? Like, it takes a million things to go right.
Yeah, that's what I usually say. I don't know.
What do you say? Say it the way you say it.
Yeah, it takes 1,000,001 things to go right to make a movie happen, but it only takes one thing to go wrong to destroy it or take it off the rails, or how
Amen.
you wanna put it. Yeah,
Amen. That's why.
and especially when it's one big thing like this.
Yep.
That's the reason.
It don't get much bigger than shooting an Indiana Jones movie,
Oh,
and
God,
Indy
yeah.
and Indy gets broke.
Especially
2 weeks
because you
in.
know it's going to be the last one.
Yeah.
That's the reason too that I was saying that the possibility of his injury getting written into the script, because especially in old Hollywood they used to do that a lot. So an actor, Errol Flynn would get injured, they just wrote it into the script, or whatever.
Could be.
You could potentially, but when you have a guy who, like I said, we're not being ageist here. He's 70. You got to expect him to be able to run, jump, whip. We've pointed out and made the joke, but it's true. Even though the movie's supposed to be taking place rumored in the 60s or whatever, if you were going by the age of what Harrison Ford is in comparison, this movie should take place the year that Raiders of the Lost came out, 1981.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you're right. No.
Honestly, I would love to see that.
Well,
Like Indiana Jones in the 80s.
The scene opens with him playing on Atari 2600.
Harrison
just
Ford in the
focus
Temple of
being not
His
impressed by
grandson.
it.
Harrison Ford in the Temple of Unexplained Aging.
Yes.
Like I said, it's not the
That's
age,
not how
it's
it
not
works.
the injury, it's the recovery time at the age. And I know he can
Dude,
still
tell me
do
about
a
it.
lot
I
of
snapped
stuff.
my leg in November. Sorry,
Yeah.
and now I'm up to being able to.
Right.
I've tried
Really?
running and jogging. Like I feel like I can, but my right freaking leg. I'm 6 months out of this thing when I broke it in November 10th, and shit, I still can't run on it because that rod's still rubbing against whatever the muscle it's rubbing against, and I can't run. I can walk.
Mhm.
But shit, so it's really,
You better make sure that's not permanent.
No, it's not permanent. It's getting better and better every week. But the point of the matter is that, shit. I'm not even his age,
Right. Nikki D says, does Tom Cruise have insurance for the MI films? Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's insured
hell
out
yeah.
the ass.
Out the ass. And individual actors, Tom, just so everybody in the audience knows, generally speaking, you've got production insurance that covers a production, or sometimes some of these bigger studios that make 10 films a year, they're buying annual policies as opposed to a policy for each production, which I suspect is kind of what Disney Lucasfilm has, is the annual kind.
Yeah,
But
why
for
wouldn't they?
individual actors out there, guys, there's only specialty insurance companies out there, and of course, one of the biggest underwriters, one of the oldest underwriters for this is Lloyd's of London.
Yep.
So
We're
if
talking
you're
about Indiana Jones 5.
if you're Harrison Ford or Tom Cruise and you've got personal insurance for yourself as an actor that might cover, $25-50 million, you're probably going through Lloyd's because they're one of the only companies out there that is experienced enough to underwrite that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was muted there.
I did have a question from before real quick. Now, when they're spending this much money per day when a production shuts down, now are all of these workers on set making rate like more than they would usually on a typical job?
Union rates, whatever it is for that kind of production.
So even like the helpers making at least $45-50.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know what the union rates are, but I mean, even guys like Grips on sets, I mean, they're still making. They ain't making $8.50 an hour,
Right.
dude.
Well, and that's another thing. As long as this thing gets delayed, that means that's going to push everything back. That means they may have to hire an entirely new crews and other things because they have contracts for other deals. So even though they're shooting Indiana Jones 5 now, they may have to go to some other movie in 3 months from now. So when 3 months is up and Harrison's ready to shoot again, they're like, well, I got this other job. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hire the individuals. Like if you're a big production house like Lucasfilm, you're hiring ABC sound engineer company. You're hiring XYZ camera operator company.
Now, lucky for Lucasfilm and Disney, a lot of this shit they have in house, so they work with a lot of their in-house kind of production companies or under their same umbrella. But still, that still puts other things off the schedule and fucks things up.
They still have a lot of 1099 contractors out there. I promise you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Even if you have the men. Right, but they're scattered across many projects. It's not good to have them shift around, like even in a Disney situation, because it's like if a guy is working on, like let's say an Enchanted Forest for a month, and then you're like, here, build this modern interior for this building. It's just not going to have the same love.
Well, it's not just that, Jesse, but like
you can't
ILM,
break the creative flow. Like
like ILM is under the Lucasfilm banner, but see now Disney will use ILM for not just Lucasfilm, but for Marvel and a bunch of their other productions.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. So like, even though these things are under their own umbrella and in-house, it's still going to push other things off, or they're going to have to wait because other things are going to be in line for that spot.
Or they have to contract out somebody else.
Or
that's
exactly.
the point. Yeah.
And then if it's on short notice, you better be willing to pay more. Because it's all going to... It just makes everything cost double.
Well, and the shitty part about like when Disney took over Lucasfilm is like Skywalker Sound was one of those companies that could do a quick job fast and easy and cheap. And they did a great job. But now I don't know if they're still that way. Like a lot of independent companies would come to Skywalker Sound because they had the facility and they were cheap.
Well, that was the whole vision. I mean, you want to be vertically integrated, right? You want to be able to control your chain of production, and you want to be vertically, integrated so that if you have to produce something yourself, it can get done. And then also too, there's other jobs on the, I mean, that's the way it was structured. It was, George Lucas may be criticized as a director, but in terms of like his vision for how he created the different components that made everything happen, he did a great job on deciding, when he started LucasArts for the gaming and all that. I mean,
if you think George Lucas was brilliant as a creative mind for world building, not necessarily for script writing, it's particularly dialogue writing, but I mean George Lucas, from a business standpoint, he was just one of the most brilliant Hollywood businessmen, maybe the most brilliant that ever graced that.
How many guys have
city.
a Star Wars, let alone a Star Wars and an Indiana Jones?
Yeah,
and the LucasArts division of everything.
Well, not just
that
the creative, but I mean, he had the foresight.
That's the creative side.
But that's what I'm saying, the creative side. And then you added the patents of everything that he's done. He had everything to do with the beginning of Pixar, digital editing. He's probably one of the reasons why high definition is at the place it is now. Otherwise, we'd probably still be 20 years behind. Digital cameras are another thing that he pushed and advanced. This technology they're using right now on The Mandalorian was stuff that he was talking about 20 years ago. If you have the old DVDs of the prequels, I think it's like episode 2 or 3, he's flat out saying it in one of the scenes. He's like, in a couple of years, we'll be able to do this in real time. I got my guys in the video game department working on stuff right now that we'll be able to see it as it's happening. We won't even have to wait for the render. He was just so excited about this.
Yeah.
And
I mean, think about it. You wouldn't even have. the guy would still be around, but he wouldn't be what he is. I mean, you wouldn't have a Phil Tippett without George Lucas right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I mean, the guys that made Phil Tippett, if for those of you out there who don't know the name Phil Tippett, he's considered the godfather of stop motion work when it came to movies. If you've ever seen RoboCop himself in some scenes, the Ed 209.
Well, pretty much everything from Star Wars.
Everything from Star Wars. Besides Star Wars, but I mean, that was
Jurassic
Phil Tippett.
Park even worked on.
Yes, with Spielberg, and that whole crew that Kennedy likes to take credit for. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's the guy was a genius. But I mean, it's just to see, how all this fits together over the years. It's just fascinating from a business perspective.
Well, yeah, that was the point I was going to get at. Even if you take away his, artistic accomplishments, because you can even throw in there like American Graffiti, which is, to me, almost a damn near perfect film. I mean,
that is such a great film.
Wow, wonderful.
And always overlooked when people talk about George Lucas. It's
Such a great film.
People forget how great that fucking movie is. And it's one of those movies where whenever it's on, no matter where I'm at, if I see it, it's another one where you just catch it and you can't stop watching it.
You can jump into that film at any particular time.
Now, the sequel, that's a different story. Technical Chat says, Indiana Jones and the Retribution of Short Round. He's back and he's pissed. In the past, I said there was no time for love, Dr. Jones. Now there's no time for your life, Dr. Jones. I should do that in his accent, but I'd probably get canceled.
I hope they bring back Ki Kwan in the movie.
That would be amazing. Just for a cameo would be nice.
Love that.
Because he just disappeared. You're like, where did this kid go?
I was watching a Goonies retrospective today, man. I'm like,
what they have to do is just have him pop up in like, what's his face's place, kind of. The guy who was always at the university now. His name Marcus. Have
Brody.
him come in and you just have him be like this scholar now, and you learn that, after the adventure he had with Indy, he sent him to school with all the, the fortune and glory.
How would that be?
And he made him this,
awesome.
great,
just showing his office. He's got some little gizmos laying
He
around.
took Indy's job as the professor when Indy retired.
That won't happen.
I mean,
but yeah.
that'd
I like
be so
that.
cool.
No, I know it'd be great just to kind of just have a little cameo with him, just to kind of see what happened. Like Indy kind of was like his, his fatherly figure throughout his life, made sure he went to school, went to college, all that kind of shit. So that explains why he wasn't on all the adventures and stuff. Yeah.
And Indy was his spirit animal.
Well, that's the thing is, like you can even have a moment where Indy's like, I'm just glad you didn't get into my gigs, kid. Like he got away from all that kind of stuff. And he's like whatever. And then that's where, because that's the shitty part is this one chick, she's going to come in. She's going to be all like prissy in the beginning. This is my prediction for the movie.
The boring turn.
The movie's going to start out. Indiana Jones is going to be retiring from work at school. And this girl is going to be, Phoebe Waller-Cates is going to be his replacement. And she's going to start off as this prissy British, like, school marm type. And then he's going to get swept up accidentally into some adventure from the past. Because and she's going to get drug along into it. And then she's going to be set up as the next kind of Indiana Jones kind of character. And through this adventure, she's going to kind of take over. Sala probably won't be there, Grady. I don't know.
He'll be like, look, you're going to
I thought you were going to do that in movie trailer voice. You got to do that in movie trailer voice, and then I'll be in the back going, da, 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 da.
Now she handles the whip better than he ever could.
Da, 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 da.
Hey guys, wait, considering that Kathleen Kennedy wants to see through Indiana Jones 5, does this whole situation say anything about her?
Not really, other than just look. I mean, you take the Star Wars element out of Kathleen Kennedy's career, she's done no wrong. I mean, she's facilitated some of the greatest directors of all time. I will never, ever take that away from her. And like you said, PJ, if I had an interview with her, I'd have no problem making her feel at least somewhat comfortable in the fact that I appreciate that she's responsible for a lot of my childhood. Let me stop you
1 second. Let me stop you. It's not if, it's when we have an interview with her.
Well, you will probably, not us.
Well, no, we're never. I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you this much.
We'd have to learn how to hypnotize people.
If she sees the name Mike Hill or Mexican Iron Man, I am not getting that door. A little searching on YouTube or Doomcock's channel, and I'm dead.
We can sit here and play we could play the we might be on their radar game all day, but we know we're on Disney's radar, and they do not fucking like us.
Yep.
Well, you know what I don't like? I don't like the drop in the Disney stock price. So make that shit go up so I
Well,
can sell it. Okay, Disney, if you're listening, how about
and
you
we've
get off your ass?
talked enough about it that I can say this much, and we know this for a fact because of the whole situation when we were interviewing Jim Zub about Conan, because Marvel tried getting it to go get a okay through Disney, and Disney's like, nope. And then they tried again, and they were kind of appealing the decision. And short story long, they just kind of said, just go do it. Marvel did, because they had no choice at this point. They needed us. So like that's the thing is I think you're right. I think kind of going back to that big conversation we were having before is eventually they will realize we fucked up. They do need the core fan base. It's just going to take some time. And when you have situations like Paramount where they're completely oblivious to everything, and you have Disney on the other hand where it doesn't seem like they know one hand's shaking the other, when you have like stuff like the Gina Carano situation, and you have stuff like the High Republic compared to the Mandalorian and so on. It's just, so many different worlds, it seems like, over there. And the stuff that I've talked to with people who have been with Lucasfilm for a long time, who aren't these, high-level people who can really go out there and say how they feel. They've said several times, like, this is a very toxic environment. That's the term I've heard many times over. It's a very toxic environment. They don't trust anybody. They're scared to lose their jobs. They're scared to say the wrong thing.
They're afraid to, not use Latinx as a word.
It sounds a lot like, what
you
we were
will be
hearing.
reported, and then you will be deported.
Well, to go back to PJ's interview with Andrew, it really sounds a lot like the whole Discovery situation.
Exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, exactly.
Culture Casino, our buddy, says, Indiana Jones in the wheelchair of fate.
What's up, Culture? And hey, real quick, chat out there. Look, let me just say this real quick. We have 454 people watching right now. We have just crossed the 200 likes. Guys, I appreciate you all being here, but we got to get those likes up, folks. Help us out. Hit that like button right now real quick. We got to get that number up.
Yeah, I learned from a buddy of mine who's a marketing director for online channels that 50% and over engagement really helps the algorithm push stuff.
We could get 300 guys and girls. Come on, help us out.
Just do it now, or nobody's going to talk.
Do it now. Do it now. Get to the
No one's ever
chopper.
thought of that
Hit the
before.
like
I don't
button.
know
Get
why.
to the
Do that
chopper.
cookie down and hit the like button now.
We only have here's one. We only have tofu virtual tacos available until more like buttons are hit. Then we'll bring out more chicken and carne
Okay, I
asada.
swear to God, if we don't get to 300 fucking likes right now, screw you guys. I'm going home.
If you
Okay.
guys can't afford
Bye,
to send me a
Valiant.
like right now, you need a job because you're such a loser. No,
Okay,
we just got 54 likes in the last 15 seconds.
That's
So
because you're awesome.
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Just so everybody knows, I was making fun of the Twitch
Keep
thoughts
going.
before anybody thinks I was serious. Wild Man Beyond says, this is the same old crap of James Bond, now Indiana. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the film yet to confirm, but I know a couple people who have seen the new Indiana Jones movie, and
She's stunning. She's brave. She knows how to use a whip without any training. She is.
And keep
She is
Indiana in line.
Ray Palpatine. Wait, what?
She is
Well,
Liliana
Harrison taught her in the trailer.
Jones.
Yeah.
Not the movie, not the theatrical trailer. His trailer.
Right. Is he still married to Callista Flockhart?
I think he is. Like,
Okay, all right.
He's still getting it in there.
Yeah.
Can't stop him. Can't keep a good man down.
Yes, I'm still married to her, and her boyfriend's fine with it.
One thing I do find
Todd,
interesting with this Indiana Jones
If
stuff.
he's gonna
is
show
that-
up, he's gonna show up now. You know that. Right?
Callista's married to my money.
So I got a question. So what Indiana Jones, with all this money on the table and involved, okay, Kathleen's producing all that. How is it that no one controls the press of this thing? Like, this rumor. Like I always thought back in the day, at least I don't know, back definitely in the 90s and the 2000s, but Disney had just a strong grip on marketing and PR and what the messaging was, and now it's just erratic. It's all over the place. It's non-existent. PJ, what say you?
Mike, can you repeat that? Because I was having trouble with something.
Oh.
Sorry.
I was saying that building on your little, what does it say about Kathleen Kennedy comment, is that I've been astounded continuously of how the message, the PR, the marketing from a corporate to studio to the public just hasn't been integrated and hasn't been managed or controlled. Instead, it's been
literally a free for all where, like Tom was saying, fans get attacked by employees at the lowest level. So I'm curious from your perspective as to what your thoughts are about that.
I mean, to me, I've talked to a couple of Star Wars actors, and some of them have not had the most positive experience with Disney. It seems to me, in general, like in some ways, it's like Lucasfilm and Disney are still figuring out how they work best together in many ways. Even with the Alan Dean Foster thing. I mean, Alan was saying that it's really just that this company's a monster, and when they bought the rights from Lucasfilm, they couldn't figure things out, and it seems like there's a lot of that going on. I'm not sure if did I answer your question?
No, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I was asking for when I was asking your perspective. Valley, do you want to chime in?
I'm sorry. Wait, what, Mike?
Do you want to chime in?
Oh, no. It's a good question. I think the simple answer is that when you have not just Hollywood, but a lot of corporate America has been conned, for lack of a better word, into this notion that they have to hire diversity czars. Or all these, like, how many did we just saw this in the last couple of days?
They don't realize that that's not a law.
Yeah, it's not. It's we're hiring a new diversity personnel. We're hiring a new chief of diversity. I've made the tongue-in-cheek, and it's not really a joke anymore. But if you want to fix a lot of problems in corporate America, the first thing that you do is fire or terminate your stupid diversity departments, because that is the money-losing department for any business. Right. Because it's not about making good. We've had plenty of diversity, and you hire the best people. Who cares what they look like, what their skin color is? Who cares what their sexual orientation is? I don't care where you hail from. I don't care what your religion is. Can you do the job? Yes or no. You hire the best person in that field. Period. End of story.
Well, they're the opposite, and they care very deeply about all of that. And that's what makes them bigots.
That's the problem. And all of these hires that they're making as these chief diversity officers, they tend to be 30-something-year-olds or younger, and they have no real experience in the business world. They have no real experience of ever having to actually answer for anything. All they see is, we have to change the profile of our employee makeup and the content that we deliver or the product that we deliver. There's no accountability yet to this point for, is it actually working? Is this making us money or is this losing us money? I always go back to, and I'll close out with this, the old joke from Ghostbusters, which I've been using as a financial planner for 20 freaking years. Where Ray walks out and it says, you don't know what it's like to work in the private sector. They expect results.
Yep.
We ain't there no more. The private sector is starting to look like the old, publicly funded college days of today and yesteryear, 30, 40 years ago, to where it's like, yeah, you know what? Results don't matter. It's just about our intention. It's just about what we show people. And that's kind of where we are. And it sucks, and we wind up getting shitty products like Star Trek right now, like Star Wars for the last several years, like many other intellectual properties out there. You see the results of, you know what? Don't judge us on the quality of the product. Judge us on our intentions. And we see it all from the Hollywood media. What do? They run out and they back them up. Well, this is a great movie because there's this type of cast member in it. Or there's this type of political messaging in it. Has nothing to do with the story being of quality. Has nothing to do with being faithful to the original IP or the canon of whatever the franchise may be. It all has to do with checkboxes of some irrelevant nature. And it's just...
what's funny? I always wanted to be a doctor, and I thought I should have gotten A's in every single class I was ever in. And I deserved that.
Well, exactly. I identify. Yeah. So everybody, Jesse identifies as a physician. He is now qualified to do open heart surgery on your grandmother.
And all I got is this
based on today's logic, that's the way it works, right? I identify as the Pope, so you can kiss my ring and call me Your Holiness from now on. I mean, this is the kind of stupidity that we got to deal with.
I want to
But
identify as PJ from Orville Nation because everybody thinks he's cool.
Mike wants to identify as white.
What?
I want to be Mexican Iron Man when I grow up.
Hey, there you go. Well, thank you, PJ, for that respectful attitude. You know, that is why you are considered a good friend and a true brother.
By the way, the other day I saw you on camera. It was exciting to see you on camera.
Well, I'd be on camera
He's
right now, except I'm on my
adorable.
laptop. I'm on the
He's
laptop.
adorable.
I
wish
love
they'd
it
come
when
up
Mike
more
gets on camera.
I gotta
It's like a
something
special
out here
moment.
real
It's like
quick.
when Tom gets on camera. We don't see it enough.
On a serious note, if
Nobody
they
wants
want to do diversity, right? Now, let's say any job takes place in X town or X county. Shouldn't diversity be the percentage of how many people live there who are of whatever different ethnic backgrounds and base it on the actual local percentages? Or maybe even the national average of percentages? Or they
Stop
just say,
using logic.
yeah, but are they just like, I don't
I
have
got a
tickle
simpler
me
formula
pink-
for you.
I don't have a tickle me pink.
I
in
got
my
one even
Crayola
simpler for
box
you.
yet.
No matter what, when, where, how, we just get the best people for the job. How's that?
Amen.
Should be
That's
the way
it.
it should be.
That's the way-
Wild Man
yeah.
Beyond says the only legit product right now is Cobra Kai. I agree, especially when it comes to hitting a decent diversity quotient without it being forced. It
Well,
feels
they
natural.
canceled
to the
my
story.
Ash versus Evil Dead, so yeah, it's down to one show now.
Yeah, Mr. Tickle Trunk then comes in and adds and the Orville when it finally comes back. Indeed, PJ, any word on that? I think they're shooting again, aren't they?
They're almost done shooting, and the rumor is that they're done shooting in July. Hopefully, I mean, like I actually thought we were going to get a surprise, and we were going to get it a lot earlier, but it's looking like mid-fall right now.
PJ, I got a question for you.
Yep.
How brilliant of a maneuver was it for them to leave and get out of the Fox hierarchy? Can you imagine what might have happened to the show?
Listen, I think Seth is a really smart guy.
God, he's so smart. So smart.
And I listen. I don't know what's going to happen with the Orville, but I think he has a plan that that most of us are unaware of, and we will see exactly how he does that. And this is why a lot of people have been complaining about how long the Orville's been taking to release. But think about it. We go back and we do a binge of Star Trek Next Generation, for example. And so like Seth knows that whatever he puts out is going to be timeless. And
Oh my God,
really
it's so
important.
funny you say that, PJ, because I just not just recently, right before I moved, and then in the month of May, I rewatched every episode again, and they have that same rewatchability that I get with TOS.
Yeah,
They really do. Like I went through the whole thing. I knew what's going to happen on every episode. I knew how the cliffhanger was. I knew what comes next. And damn it, the thing is just rewatchable, just like TOS is to me. It's just astounding. It's the same feeling. Like I'm sitting there going from one to the next. But the beauty about what the Orville Nation, the Orville has done is that it's a serial and it's not a serial at the same time, because there's stories that are interweaving. Versus Star Trek, it kind of doesn't matter what I watch in any particular order overall. I mean, it just really doesn't at all.
Yeah, and like there's David A. Goodman, there's Brandon Braga, there's Seth MacFarlane, there's Jon Favreau. A lot of people don't realize Jon Favreau helped kick off the Orville in season 1.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't. Yeah.
So I think that after season 3 of the Orville, it's going to cast a big shadow on Star Trek. I mean, I don't want to compare the two, but I'm saying like the Orville is going to be in a very, very different place after season 3. And people, there's a lot of people who watch Star Trek who have been holding out. They haven't really started giving the Orville a shot, but it's all going to change after season 3.
You know, my favorite story about Discovery versus Orville is PJ. When the both shows very, very, very first started, I was DJing I think it was a graduation party or something, or a reunion. It was for a cousin of mine, and I was talking to my cousin at the time, in between, and I know he's a big Star Trek fan, and I'm like, I heard him say something about CBS All Access, and I'm like, oh, so you got CBS All Access? And he's like, oh yeah, because he lives out in the country now, so he can't get no cable or nothing, and he, doesn't have a satellite dish or nothing. But it's like, so did you check out the new Star Trek yet? He's like, oh, there's a new Star Trek. I'm like, yeah, there's a new Star Trek. It's on CBS All Access. He's like, no, I didn't even know nothing about it. Yeah, it's something. He goes, oh, but have you seen that new show from the guy who does Family Guy? I can't remember the name of it, but it's hilarious, and I love it. And then he spent the next 10 minutes, and then a bunch of other people started coming in who had seen it too. So it was like, okay, this show has some buzz around it. Now, it may not have the huge audience that they think it should, or like that they're boasting for, but one thing we noticed when we first started tracking the show is like it would do decent in it's a time slot, but what it would do is almost double that number on the digital side of things, which was just insane. So I think you're right that Hulu might just be the right place for Orville, and hopefully it will blow up a little more. But I really feel bad that they didn't put it on Disney Plus, to be honest with you. I think it would have a bigger audience on Disney Plus.
That's a historical norm for Seth MacFarlane. Look at the early days of Family Guy. It was never big on Fox when it was on Sunday nights.
They canceled it.
Way back in the beginning, they canceled it. And then it exploded on Cartoon Network to the point to where they brought it back on Fox.
They're like, oh shit,
10 years, and now it's 10 years after they brought it back, and it's still running bigger than ever. So I mean, that's kind of his shows just create a buzz. They get a following and they just blow up.
And you know what's crazy too, guys, about that is that there's a good portion of the Orville fan base that were not sci-fi fans, and they came from Family Guy and American Dad, which is crazy.
Yes. It's Whittier.
It was following
members of my family who are not, uber nerdy like I am have done that. That's a very good point, PJ. I didn't know that was a big thing. I thought it was just something weird that happened to my family.
See, Star Trek is a very unique thing because when I think about Star Trek, I'm thinking about the original series. Now think about that show for a minute. Was anybody ever just chilling? No. Well, like everyone always had like that, almost like you're watching a play. You know what I mean? Like that type of.
Well, I'm a strong mind that I think the best way to introduce somebody to Star Trek, because most people who haven't really gotten into it or say, I just don't like it, they've never actually really sat down and watched it. I think that's the case. If you introduce them to Star Trek 4 first, because that's the easiest one that has the most.
It is because it's
the entry
relaxed.
level. You don't have to know the characters. Because I've said this time and time and time again, Star Trek 4 works as a movie about people from the future who need a fucking whale. That's and it works, and it's charming as shit. Movie. And you get to know the characters a little bit, so you're like, all right, now that you kind of know who these characters are, then you kind of throw them into the OG series, or I would even suggest getting them into TNG first. I've said to people, because TNG is a little bit even more entry level than TOS, because then you can go back and appreciate.
Yeah, but he is a lot staunchier than Kirk was. Like people don't like stiff shirts, and I think that's.
Well, I think the movies are at least the best place to kind of get.
Like on the Orville, it's like watching guys who are from like a Navy ship or something because they're joking with each other. You know what I mean? They're more realistic people.
I mean, I could be wrong, but to me, that's the best way to do it. Is kind of through the movies, especially start with 4. I know it seems odd to start with 4, but then it's easy for people to backtrack around.
It's not. It's got the best lines. Doctor gave me a pill. I grew a kidney. And the transparent aluminum bit, and then the whale song.
Like I said, you can take all the Star Trek references out of it, and it would just be a movie about, like I said. So
that's a good point, Tom.
Yeah.
One thing I like is that PJ, you mentioned that they're almost done filming, or they're done filming. What did you say earlier?
They're supposedly done filming. In July.
So we haven't heard any gripes, drama, showrunner leaving.
No, we never do, really.
I mean, nothing. And that I think speaks volumes to what
we even had a couple break up who work on the set and get back together.
Who's that?
Scott Grimes and
then break up again.
Did they break up again now?
Yeah. But they're good. They're good.
That's good. What's her face? I can't think of her name now.
Yeah.
Second star of the short. Yeah.
She's so hot as Wonder Woman.
They've been on and off again for so long here.
Wait. She's single again?
There you go, Mexican Iron Man.
Quick, PJ! I need to borrow your transporter after the show. Can I come over?
Go, Miguel. Yes.
Okay, I need to borrow your transport. I'm going to transport myself to Miss Peleki's private trailer.
Just be careful what you get yourself into here, PJ.
You guys
about to get his ass maced.
Facilitating here.
Do you guys think we'll get transporters this? I don't know. Have you guys all watched the Orville? Will we get transporters this year? This season?
I don't know. Do you think that's something they even really that worried about?
I gotta say that transporters are one of the biggest bullshit things in sci-fi. So
Oh my
I look at
gosh.
it this way: the reason why
Jesse.
they
no,
are.
well, Jesse, look, I get where you're
They
coming
kill
from, but
you. They
but-
kill you.
no, like in the world of Star Trek, the only reason they exist is because of time and budget. And nowadays, you can do the same kind of effects, or it takes the same kind of time or budget almost to do just as much of an effect of a shuttle going from the ship to the quick shot.
Let me ask you a
what I
question,
mean?
Jesse. Do you like
Yeah.
Stargate?
McCoy hated him, and I'm with him.
Yeah. But
Are you a fan of Stargate?
Stargate doesn't kill you.
Well,
That's interdimensional.
it's the same thing. You walk
No,
in and
it's
poof, you're
not.
somewhere
It's
else.
right.
Your
different.
molecules.
Oh my God, it's completely
Come
different.
on. Okay,
trans-
okay,
whoa, whoa,
okay. Let me
whoa,
see you jump
a
into a
trans-
wormhole like if
It-
it's a
it was a
slippy slide, and let me see what
molecule
happens.
device,
Transporter has to
Jesse.
analyze
See, now we're
the entire
fighting. Now we're
physical
fighting.
being
See?
and make a blueprint of you.
Okay, you know
Then
what,
it's gotta
Jesse?
break down every molecule in your body, and there's two ways. to do
Transporter
this now.
versus Stargate. I will see you, sir, after the show by the virtual bike racks after school.
Look, Stargate. You go through a Stargate. A Stargate is just a wormhole. Now that brings
Oh,
up
just
a whole
a
nother,
wormhole.
a whole
Oh,
nother, a whole
so
nother
much
world of
gravity that it would
problems.
just slice and dice you. PJ, what say you
It
on
would
this
rip
issue,
you
sir?
apart. It would rip you the fuck apart. You would need a ship to go through a wormhole.
It's me and Tom versus Valiant and Jesse. What say you?
Okay, here's the thing with
as
Go
a
ahead,
story
sorry,
tool, as a story tool, I see what Mike is saying that they're similar.
They are.
They're point A to point B, but they go to completely different types of places.
What are you talking about? It's the
It's
same.
molecule ripping. Oh my God, I'll prove it right now.
Okay, you
in
know
3
what?
Seconds.
Then you
Wait.
get okay. Then I want to see your Valiant Renegade, Mr. Valiant Renegade.
I think
go
I
be
can
a
settle
go
this
be
a little
Valiant. Go be a renegade, and just go to take a spaceship, jump out without a little spacesuit, be naked, and go jump in a wormhole. And let
I
me
think
see how
I
that
think I
works
got a
out for
point
you.
here
That's what
that'll
I'm
kind of
saying.
settle this a little bit. The difference, I think, is in Star Trek, transporting isn't everything. In Stargate, the Stargate is like the DeLorean.
It's the
It's
title.
part of the
man.
story. Yeah, it's part of
Yes.
the. You need it to be there. Like you can do a Star Trek show without any transport whatsoever. Like so, to me, I think that's maybe the thing there. And Jesse, like you just gotta. It's one of those sci-fi things you just gotta accept. And to be
Have
honest,
you ever read the book The Physics of Star Trek?
I no, but like let's be clear.
Read that shit. It's fucking hilarious.
Transport like that, beaming somebody is probably a lot more likely to happen anytime in the future than us uncovering some kind of fucking Stargate, too. Let's be real.
Oh, you know what?
All right, Jesse, it's you and me. Lightsabers at dawn, buddy.
Okay.
Just
Hey.
remember, James Spader entered the Stargate as James Spader, and he came out on the other side as Ultron. So, I mean, just for God's sake, it is a molecule-ripping device, and it will change things as you go. I'm just saying it happened.
no strings to hold me down.
I still love the Stargate movie. I still watch it. In fact, I watched the...
Honestly, if you were to walk through a Stargate, what kind of forces do you think would be at
I don't know,
play
but PJ was gonna
in
say
a
something here.
wormhole?
Anyway, what were you going to say,
I was
PJ?
just going to say we hear all this stuff about UFOs lately, and there are people who say that that Stargate is part of disclosure.
I believe that is entirely plausible. One of the ways they said that they could try to open up something like a Stargate is to take very thin sheets of steel, and they have them so close to each other, right? They're so close to each other that they form a natural force of energy and resonance because they're trying to basically find their like atoms, right?
Van der
And
Waals
they
forces.
and it's supposedly they could try to open up a wormhole with it. I don't fucking know.
I just don't
That
think we
sounds
could
pretty
go
cool,
through a
though.
wormhole without some kind of ship or
Oh,
something.
I would definitely want a ship. Dude, Bill and Ted.
Not if you're going
When
through a
they're hanging
Stargate,
out-
you don't want a
hanging out in the
ship,
phone booth.
Mr. Fancy Pants. Apparently, if you
Bill
go
and
through a
Ted, don't
Stargate,
even
you
get
don't
me
need a
started on the fucking science of Bill and Ted. Even Ed Sullivan's just like, it's a fucking comedy.
There was science in that?
There were
No.
so many dudes in that phone booth that looked like they were riding a canoe through history.
No, there's zero science in fucking Bill and Ted.
No, but it was still great.
You know what you saying, PJ? I'm so sorry.
No, I just for you guys, Tom just reminded me that Cardinal Sin channel. Cardinal Sin is a new channel.
Yeah.
He had to cancel his show the other day because he had a technical problem. But he has a huge exclusive with Tracy Torme. He's a Star Trek writer and Sliders creator, and he has an exclusive with Tracy Torme coming up about new Sliders. So I just want to shout that out.
Really? My
Ooh,
favorite
very cool.
episode of Sliders was the one where it was a takeoff or homage to the Lottery short story, where you could take as much money out of the ATMs as you wanted, Fine. It bought you more lotto tickets. And if you won the lotto, your family got some money, but you were executed.
I didn't remember that one.
It was a good ass episode.
You know, all this talk of death and dying and molecules, I feel bad because PJ is like the most positive person I know, so we should change the topic.
Yeah, I know. Hillis Mallory wants our thoughts on Loki episode 4. I've not watched it. PJ, have you checked out Loki yet?
I have, yeah.
What do you think so far?
I think I don't know who I was listening to. I'm not sure if it was Midnight's Edge or it was Script or who it was, but somebody said something the other day that there's going to be a lot of normies who are just it's gonna go over their head that, you know, and they're gonna find it okay. I think it's just okay. I know when the story was written, I was like that. I'm not a big fan of the 1978 aesthetics of the whole thing. I'm not. I just think it's okay. There's a lot that could be improved.
There you go. I have not watched since the first episode. I checked out just simply because once they treated the events that they did prior to that as just like a fuck you to the audience, I was like, yeah, no. Valiant, how about you?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, after that rip, and I talked with Script about this a little bit. Matter of fact, because I did kind of a review on that first episode, and just it pissed me off. And you know, he was saying, well, look, the writers are trying to expand the universe, and they have to try to make the stakes bigger. And I'm like, look, I get all that, but it could have been handled better. And then, of course, it was like a week later when the writer came out and basically just said, yeah, we had to figure out a way to make the Infinity War, the Infinity Stones bullshit, basically. And I'm like, well,
which
there you go.
pisses me off because
exactly.
you have a situation here where, okay, yes, I get what you're saying. Like, you got to always make the stakes higher and higher and higher. I get that.
Right.
But what you have here is a unique opportunity in a world where you had this massive event, and they could have dealt with it for the last few years and shown us what was the fallout, what's the repercussions. And we got a lot of that in just background jokes, toss away bullshit.
You didn't have to denigrate it.
Yeah,
you didn't have to bastardize it.
Yeah, and then you turn it into this thing where it's like, because I know a lot of people weren't real big with an Endgame, but I stuck up for that movie a lot. I'm like, no. There's a lot of things you can play with here. And we're seeing a lot of those doors being closed left and right with these fucking series. And, you know, from what I'm hearing about Black Widow and stuff, I'm like, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They had an entire way they could have expanded, had 2 or 3 more Captain America movies and all this other stuff where it didn't have to be this BC grade level bullshit that we got coming up. But anyway, I'm dominating this part of the conversation.
No, you're fine. But Loki to this point. I'll sum it up for everybody out there, and I think Tom kind of feels the same way, and a lot of people I've talked to feel the same way. It's just boring.
It is.
Yeah.
It's fucking
I'm
boring.
up to episode 3. And,
it's literally, I've watched all the way through to episode 4, and I can literally sum the whole thing up. It's Owen Wilson, and I'm not going to spoil anything that happens at the end of 4.
Right.
But Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, they walk down a hall and they talk. They sit in a chair, they talk. They go to the library, they talk. They walk through a store, they talk. They walk down the hall, they talk again. They sit down and they talk again. It's 4 fucking episodes of this until female Loki shows up, and then guess what? Tom Hiddleston and female Loki, they sit down and they talk. They walk down a hall, they talk. They walk through a field, they talk. They fucking talk. Dr. Seuss could have written this fucking book.
Wait. I have a question.
There's a lot of talking in this show.
But I have a question.
Jesus.
What happens after they talk?
They sure as hell don't fuck because it's Disney. I know.
No,
that.
they talk some more.
They talk some more.
They talk some more about their feelings.
This literally, the whole show, if you think back, and this is what pisses me off, I tend to look back at things at a 30,000-foot view.
Preach.
What did we get with WandaVision? What did we get with Falcon and the Winter Soldier? What are we getting now with Loki?
Amen.
We are getting 90-minute movies that could have been done and shot, stretched out into these
That's what Andre's been saying too.
obscenely elongated, ridiculous, just expositionary.
And I'll give you
Mandalorian season 1.
Yeah, no
Amen.
shit. I'll give you one more where they actually ruin Loki's character in a sense that, look, this is a different Loki, and I wish they would have embraced this because it sounded like they were embracing it with Guardians of the Galaxy, because I don't know what the case is now, but initially what I had heard was that the plan was the storyline is that Gamora they have isn't the same Gamora, obviously we know that, but so Chris Pratt's character can't stand her. she hasn't had the same experiences as the other Gamora, and they all can't trust her. So from what I heard is that this part of the storyline is him trying to go back and get his Gamora back.
In what show? I'm lost.
In Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, in G3. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed. It was originally supposed to be about. Now I don't know if that's changed or what, but like that was supposed to be. Yeah, because
so wait. So he has to like the yearning to find that lost love that he wants. Dude, find your purpose and live your purpose. Don't be a beta.
The thing is, the reason I kind of didn't mind that storyline, Mike, is it kind of makes up for him fucking everything up in Infinity War. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of hit him feeling guilty about that, and then him not being able to click with this Gamora.
That could be a subplot, but not the whole entire movie.
He set up is that the new Gamora is probably going to.
Dude, I don't know about anyone else.
Well, that's where he's also set up that the variant Gamora ends up being the villain in the film. Is also the way you said it.
And bored.
But we've already done that. I mean, that's what they did to Scarlet Witch. She's now
that's what I'm saying. Now I don't know if that's what's
like,
going to happen because like you just said, they used a lot of the same elements in fucking WandaVision.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
I don't know.
I was done with him when he screwed everything up. When he screwed the whole battle up, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Because let me tell you, I'm a very chivalrous guy.
There's got to be a reason for that, though.
But if it comes to the hot chick that I just met the other day that maybe I've hung out with a little bit in the future of the interplanetary, intergalactic universe, I'm taking the universe.
Well, I'm just trying to say, I think there was a bigger overall arcing story that was meant to happen with James Gunn in the expanded cosmic universe that just isn't going to happen now. But
now
it
this
could
story
still
wasn't to take place over the backdrop of a bigger event or
I'm sure it was.
Or anything.
Well, that's the thing is they're going to be setting up like Galactus. They're going to be because that's the thing. His dad was a living planet, and so is Galactus, which means who else could probably beat another living planet but fucking
Galactus wasn't really a
Star-Lord.
planet. He was like an ancient being.
Well, it's still the same thing. So they're going to set that up. So that's the way Galactus is going to be. So that's the kind of character he's going to be. So the only one who's ever going to be able to fight him is going to be Star-Lord.
It's okay because Galactus is dead. Yeah, his body's under New York.
That's Jimmy Hoffa.
That's Jimmy Hoffa.
It was in the Fantastic Four comics.
He's in your pool,
ago.
Jesse.
I don't know. It's not
you
really
better dig
a spoiler.
it up. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I think I love Jesse. I just don't know what to do with him sometimes.
I was just going to say, Mike, do you want to give any thoughts on
You
Loki?
put him on Mead. That's what you do with him.
I was just going to jump to you next anyway, Mike, and see if you wanted to give any thoughts since you didn't really get a chance to yet.
I thought I did. Oh, you mean Loki?
Yeah.
Oh God, it sucks. I mean, look. Look, I maybe it's because I'm on Mornings of Mischief. The Stone Loki's channel in the morning every day.
The real Loki.
Hey Loki, love you. I don't know if he's listening, but I'm I'm not always on the screen, but I'm certainly there every day. And then I was looking forward to this, and I got to tell you, even throughout all the movies, I love this character. I love the way he was played. I love the actor. I was so excited for the show, and you know what? I approached it with an open mind. I'm like, I'm not going to let the naysayers turn me down. I'm going to approach this, positively, open mind. I got through the first episode. I couldn't finish the third one. So you want to know in chat what happened? Well, I saw the first one, I saw the second one, I couldn't finish the third one. I just couldn't finish. I just stopped. I'm like,
I really think that this entire series so far is a victim of its own ambition, really, because when you think about it, these time cops, I call them the time cops because Van Damage. They're dealing with everything that's ever happened and blah 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 blah, right? All the different variations of anything that has happened, all those different timelines, they got it all written down, right? So now they're going to use this premise, and they can't really go down the rabbit hole that they should in this show without introducing the interdimensional aspect, because it's going to be later on. If you knew everything that happens, how come you don't know about other dimensions? Right, so they have to have that in there, but it muddies the fucking waters because most people don't know what a interdimensional is, and they don't know what timelines do. People think you go back in time and do whatever you want. It doesn't work like that.
Well, and I think that's what the show is trying to explain a little bit, but it's doing a piss poor job of
it.
But
that's exactly where you go to the over exposition, where everything is a conversation in a hallway, conversation at a desk, having a beer. Oh, we're going to go grab some food. I do enjoy the back and forth in the chemistry between Tom and
Owen Wilson.
Yeah, because I like Owen Wilson. But and I do like that
Wow.
they have like this 70s cop vibe together, because it's more like a 70s detective show, but in a very odd backdrop, which is weird.
Don't
And
get
it's
too
fucking
attached.
weird. But it doesn't get the story, the overall storyline, because it's just kind of something that should be in its own little bubble, aside from everything, like, you know, a little through the looking glass thing, because the basic premise of the show is Loki's going to die in it again, because he's a variant.
I don't know if that's true though.
He's a parrot. It is true. It is
You
true.
think so?
Because
Well, if you're
he's a
right, I'll say you're right.
paradox.
But
He's a
here's the
paradox.
thing, Jesse. I've
He
heard
has to
that's
be
not how it
resolved.
ends. I've heard that's not how it ends. Here's the thing that pisses me off, and that goes
Well,
back to my initial
then they need
point.
to read a book, man.
I could be wrong, but like my point is this: is
fucking that drives
them-
me crazy.
they
Because
went and made a variant.
Shit.
They went and made a variant of Loki, and they put him back to where he was before he was turned into this anti-hero. They took him back to when he was still a fucking villain. And instead, they made him exactly the same character he was when he died. He got to see all the supposedly most important events in the other Loki's timeline that changed Loki into who he was to the point where he died, right?
Yep.
So now what you
watched
have-
his own death.
Now you basically have is the easy cheat of bringing back Loki, and he is the same exact fucking Loki as before. He's now had all this. He hasn't experienced them, but he knows the experiences enough to where it affected him personally. So that's where it pisses me off, because it's like you could have had a lot of fun with bad Loki again.
You know,
I miss bad Loki.
The Loki on the show is a transporter copy.
Yeah,
That's all he is.
and I get it, but that's an easy way of bringing him back. That's
Oh yeah. It's just-
plausible.
Cheap
if
writing.
Loki is dead,
Because,
you
yeah.
want to make a couple extra bucks off of Loki and get some more screen time. Timeline.
The potential is what I'm getting at. Is you had a potential not only to do something with Loki that was unique, but just bring him back in a way that was like, okay, this is not the same Loki. So put him up against Thor, to where Thor realizes
Or
that.
how
like,
about
you know,
maybe have him go to hell?
whatever? I mean, he's a god, so I don't know if he'd go to hell anyway.
No, he would. He would.
They can
It's
do whatever
another
they want
realm.
at this
Yeah, I was
point.
gonna say he
Hell
can
is
just leave
another
if he
realm.
wants. Well,
So,
that's the
yeah,
other
he
part
would
that
go
pissed me
there.
off too. Is he's like, I'm a
But
god.
you would
This
have to
shit's
get out of there.
insignificant.
That would be a cool movie.
So that took away all his powers in that fucking time thing. So the TSA or the whatever the hell they're called, the TF, whatever the fuck they're TVA or whatever.
TVA.
Yeah, as powerful as
cares?
they're supposed to be, it's like, okay, well, so that makes Loki nothing compared to them. So that makes Thor nothing compared to them, and all these other guys. I mean, it really diminutizes all these people and their power.
No, the whole thing is almost like gods and angels.
Yeah,
I'm really
but-
waiting to see what Samba TV reports as the ongoing viewership numbers, because
I heard they
obviously
dumped about 100,000 viewers.
160,000 between episodes 1 and 3. Now again, between a show's premiere and subsequent episodes, that's
That
not
happens.
terribly exactly. It's not terribly off the mark. The problem is that some of these things like Samba TV, they're only metricing, you know, if you watched the first 5 seconds. Like if you turned it on and you watched 5 seconds or something like that, it's a paltry amount of the show. It doesn't really gauge like a Nielsen viewership report would do. You know, that sophistication of tracking streaming services, I don't think is quite there yet. But I can tell you just from anecdotal evidence. I mean, I'm the father of my two oldest children are girls. They're now almost 16 and 14. I can tell you when I went to go see Infinity War, they all came with me. We all went a couple of years ago. And these girls are both like, oh my God, Tom Hiddleston is so cute. Oh my God, he's so hot. Da, da, da. You know, I got to deal with this as daughters. They think Tom Hiddleston is gorgeous.
Oh, just go look at our video. The thirstiness of the women in that.
Let me tell you what. My oldest daughter, who is almost 16 now, she went to Infinity War that night, like with, you know, in love with Loki, in love with Tom Hiddleston, and she was in full green face paint, wig, everything is Gamora. And what happened in that movie? They both freaking died. They both got killed.
Especially Loki in the first 10 minutes.
I had to almost carry my daughter to the car.
no.
She was broken. Now, I bring that up.
Did you explain to her that death means nothing in Marvel?
Yeah, apparently so. But no, I mean, but here's my point is that the Loki show has been on, and I think they watched the first couple episodes, but the last 2 weeks, I don't think they've watched either of them yet. And again, it's about it's the sluggishness of the show. It's the fact that Hiddleston, yeah, he's still playing Loki, But does anybody really feel like it's the same Loki, or is
No,
this
that
like
was my point.
It's
Yeah.
it's a cucked version,
Exactly.
to use a Shakespearean term. It's a dumbed down,
he
watered
seems
down
like he's
version.
extremely weak.
When it
Yeah.
should be the edgy Loki, and that's what I was getting at. Exactly, Valiant.
And the girls, like my daughters, are like kind of meh on the show, and both of them. My even my youngest daughter, who's almost 14 now, she's still in love with Hiddleston as an actor, but she kind of doesn't seem to give a rat's ass about this show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I know the appeal of Loki is it's kind of like that whole he's a bad boy and I can make him good kind of thing.
Exactly.
And he's got that sexy, dark kind of emo thing about him where he's not the manly, masculine man. Even though he did a great job in Kong, I got to give him credit for that.
Oh, he's great in that movie.
Like,
Renegade
totally-
Jr., my 10-year-old loves that movie, loves Hiddleston in it.
I thought he was going to suck in it. I'm like, no way I can see Loki as this like action star. It was bad enough trying to the Adrian Brody I thought was kind of meh for King Kong. The last one, I'm like getting visions of that again. And I'm like, you're gonna have this scrawny guy running around. And I'm like, oh no, he buffed up like a motherfucker. He was like, I'm like, all right, cool. But yeah, Stephen Otten says, PJ, which network will the Orville be on when it returns? That's a great question. It'll be Hulu in the US, right?
Yep.
But outside of that, PJ, I know you may not have an answer for this, but if you do you know of any other channels that might be picking it up outside of the US? I mean, imagine Star might pick it up in England, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I don't know the details. I've even heard some people say Netflix abroad. I do not know the details. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if you did for sure, but
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're not in the US, just kind of keep searching. But yeah, if you're in the US and you have Hulu, that's the place to be.
I do want to say just a lot of people don't realize this. Make VPN your friend if you're living.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have like, and it's not too hard also to get like a US like prepaid card so you can pay for that and stuff. So yeah, you can do it, and that's what we have Surfshark for with the word midnight, and you get a special deal, and that can help you get to that stuff as well. So there you go. You can also jump on Star, I guess, from US if you change it to the UK on there. So I've heard there's some cool stuff on there. I haven't checked it out yet though. Nelson Sharita says transporter murder machine.
It's a suicide booth.
It's a goddamn suicide booth.
It is. I could go into this in depth. It's a suicide
Damn it,
booth.
Jim. Don't you see? DCV Titan says in both Stargate and I want to get these sooner. Sorry, now we're going to start this up again. In both Stargate and the teleporter, they strip you down into individual atoms, so they both technically kill you. Like that's what I was getting.
Even if they could transport those atoms on a wave,
Oh, here we go.
they would need a landing pad to reconstruct the atoms. Okay, then it would be the same thing. Even if you live through this and you still have the same brain that got put back exactly the right way with the right memories, where
Spock's brain.
Yeah. Oh my God, that wasn't that written as a troll. But
I can't remember, but
I think it was. But
and they've done these episodes too with that, like that make you like, come on, well then why don't they use that all the time in medical use and shit like that? But anyway,
you know how Bones always complained about the food because it came out of
Bones complained about
printer.
everything.
Yeah, but he always said the food was flavorless, right? That's because they printed the food out of base atoms, right? That's how Earl Grey hot. That's how that show works. All right. So now if they're building a person out of the same basic type of technology, you don't taste right. You taste funny. What comes through that? It's like a microwaved version of you. Like you don't want this. It's not a good thing. And the other version just fucking kills you. So like that. I don't know where to go with this. I'm done. I hate the transporter apparently.
All right, McCoy.
And the energy requirements, okay?
Talk to Scotty about that one.
So we know Jesse's never going to go use one.
Yeah, we know it.
When it's
You're
embedded.
the Dr. McCoy. Here
Jesse
we
is
go.
always going to take the shuttle.
Dash D says, wow, Valiant, first a cheerleader outfit, and now a SIG hat.
Now?
You're like a drunk whizzing on the highway. You're just everywhere. I say he's had that hat for a while, as far as I know.
This hat, Dash, and I know Dash. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Dash. This is the same hat. Well, it's a SIG hat. I have a couple of different SIG Sauer hats. but I've been wearing a Sig Sauer hat ever since my very first YouTube video, the night of January 30th this year, just a few months ago. So it just kind of became a thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Dash D is coming in here to bust our balls. Says, you're hacking on Loki, talking for 90 minutes. Y'all realize what you do for a living. Hey, here's the difference. And Mr. Tickle Trunk also reminds us that I guess they talk on a train. You forgot to mention that one.
Sorry, dude. Yeah,
here's the thing.
part.
They've got how much money per episode to produce Loki?
A lot.
Shit.
It's a nice train. Look, it's a nice train.
I get $1.05 and a soda to do this, okay?
Dear Andre,
I need more money to produce the show because Dash D's does not seem to think we're living up to our potential.
Hey, look, I recently learned that for every time somebody watches your commercial, you get, what is it, 1/10 of a penny or something like that?
Honestly, I mean, what we make per show, I mean, the super chats, when we say you guys keep the lights on, we are not fucking kidding.
Yeah, that is
the amount of
main
money
thing. Yeah.
The amount of money you make from an actual view on a video is so minuscule. You have to have a video that is like those videos that are doing like millions of views. Those people are still only getting like maybe if they're lucky 20s, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that can vary. And I'm not even kidding with that variance. Right. On one of my earlier channels, I had a video take off and get like 20,000 views on me, which was like at that time just astronomical. And some bitch made 92 cents. And I'm like, wow. What the fuck? And I wrote them. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I got videos that have 12 fucking views that made more than that. And they're like, well, that's just the way it is. I'm like, you a lying motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, it's like you have zero like transparency. So you can't really get like a direct breakdown of everything per se. I mean, you get certain things, but like they just tell you and you get what they give you.
It's like YouTube.
Yeah, for real. Because it seems like they take $40 off of 100.
They do really. It's actually 30. But anyway, you were 30, saying, PJ.
Not to complain about YouTube, but YouTube is like Google's money laundering operation. It's just like
it is. That's why.
Where's the rest of that money?
You know what I hate, PJ?
And we're demonetized at that
time.
They
say, yeah.
Right.
You know, my favorite one, PJ, is when they say, well, YouTube really doesn't make money. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, they make a lot of monies. That's why they're a thing. That's why businesses work.
YouTube, let me tell you something, folks, from a financial perspective, YouTube is one of Google's biggest, if not the biggest, cash cow.
Yeah, just like they used to tell us there was, like, you used to try and get a hold of somebody, they would like, there is no YouTube. I'm like, what do you mean there's no YouTube? It's like, don't you have like a department or something, like a head I can get a hold of? I need to talk to somebody over there. There's no department. It's not a thing. It's just like a host of servers. I'm like, you lying motherfuckers. And then the sad part is it took a shooting to pretty much get us the knowledge that, yeah, there is a YouTube headquarters. They just didn't want to tell us.
Yeah.
So that's how we learned about a lot of these people.
Yeah. It's not just the AdSense. It's not the ad sharing, which they keep for most channels. Like if you're not monetized, they're keeping 100% of it. If you are monetized, it almost kind of goes on a sliding scale to the extent of how big a channel you are. And, but they're still keeping 70+% of it. And even when you guys out there, when you guys send super chats, they keep 30% of that.
Exactly.
And which is, I mean, it's a fee for facilitating the service.
Yeah, it's like
but understand that YouTube ain't poor, guys.
Yeah, for real.
And it's not. It would be better if it was a set amount. See, that's the shitty part. If we had to just pay like a subscription amount every month to be able to be on here, that would be a completely different story, and we got to keep the other percentage of it. That would be a fair situation. But for them to sit there and treat us the way they do and do the things they do, the way the rules work, and the way it works for somebody who has 1,000 subscribers as opposed to somebody who has 1 million subscribers is fucking ridiculous. It should be kind of more fair.
Are you guys on Odyssey, Tom?
No, but that's the thing. Andre and I had this discussion a long time ago about this kind of stuff, and we decided that outside of a few exceptions, we were never going to kind of like really abandon YouTube in any way. And as much as I'm griping about it, it really is the best platform thus far. It has the most access, the most viewers, it's the most stable. Regardless of where we have to censor ourselves, there's still things that we can talk about here that I pointed out that when I had my FCC license, I could have possibly even got fined for talking about some of the shit I've talked about.
And that's why YouTube can collect what they do. I mean,
and it's kind of like the mob.
We do have to be grateful for certain things.
You want to talk about that stuff? You better pay us, eh? No, Dash D says, with the super chats I've sent, go buy yourself a Honda generator, 3 light bulbs, and keep a couple candles. Keep them lights on, Tom. Well, you never know. I actually may have bought some light bulbs with the actual money you sent in at some point. You can think that way, because when I moved in this house, I went and bought all new light bulbs. So there you go. You paid for it. There you
Tom
go.
bought a hooker with that money.
Not yet. I'm working
Not
on
yet.
that. They're not cheap.
I know.
And they have like standards and all this other crap. And Nikki D says, "Are you gents ready to squeam when watching Black Widow?"
No, because I won't watch it.
I know enough about it now that I'm really depressed about it. Because I was actually kind of hoping that this was going to be a movie that we would see and be like, "Look, maybe the Marvel universe isn't done."
Yeah, I'm not paying for this.
Ain't
one.
feeling like it now.
No. Because, yeah, even Spider-Man, I'm not... I mean, I liked the first Spider-Man movie out of MCU, but I wasn't as big of a fan of the second one. I was kind of felt cheated by it. Because, like, it just kind of felt like kind of filler.
I'm still just waiting on Ghostbusters very patiently.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jesse. That's
hear
probably
you.
one of the more anticipated films I have right now.
Na-na-na-na-na-na.
But I don't
Yeah,
want to
for
keep
real.
PJ too much longer. How much more time do you have, PJ? Because we can tend to drone on for like hours.
Actually, I'm okay with time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't plan on going super much longer, but
I have a couple questions
Yeah.
for PJ because he's here tonight. When do I
please,
get to-
please.
Oh, are we gonna shift gears?
Absolutely.
are we
Let's do
low-keyed
it
out?
now. Yeah, I
Okay.
was just going to
Yes.
say, go ahead. Go for
Okay,
it.
PJ,
Please.
couple questions I have for you because I've been
Yep.
dying to ask you. Okay, so rapid fire. What are your favorite 2 episodes? Orville.
Orville. I would say Identity Part 2, and that's the one where the Kalon attack Earth.
Yep.
And I gotta say I don't know, there's a lot, but if I had to pick one, maybe the episode where they worship Kelly, the Kelly worshiping episode where there's a planet.
That's right.
It's a good one.
That they build a statue, and because they revisit this planet every couple hundred years because the
Right.
planet goes at a different time pace. Anyway, and you, what about you, Mike?
Well, I don't know what they're necessarily called, but I love the ones that dealt with all the whole issues about, this sexuality and, what are we going to do? Are we going to change the gender or not? In terms of how they treat the
About a
males and
girl,
the females. I just thought that was just incredibly and then the whole way that, and then the whole love story sequence, and then it just sort of drops off, they crash on the planet, and then, just watching that develop with the kids and having the kids involved and looking to him as a father figure. And I mean, I just watched these, I binge watched all these right before as I was packing up to leave San Jose, California. And then on my drive, that's what I was watching for the 10 or 11 days while I was, getting across the country.
Oh, wow.
So it's all pretty fresh for me. So
you know what's crazy,
Yeah.
Mike? There is that episode you're talking about is the third episode of I think it's the third episode of the series or something like that. And like we all thought we were getting this really goofy this parody of Star Trek, and all of a sudden they go boom and they take on these really
it gets
serious issues.
real fast, real hard, like boom. Yeah. Nah, it's like and it's intense, and the minutes fly by so fast that you're just engrossed, and then boom, the episodes.
Let me ask you this: has it ever crossed your mind that to equate what you're seeing, because the whole mix of comedy and then these really serious issues being put into the mix, it almost reminds me, it's very different, but it reminds me a little bit of MASH.
Fascinating, which was incredibly well written. Of course, I wasn't old enough to see MASH, when it came out, live. But I've seen all those MASH episodes on rerun.
They used to play them all the time back in the day.
Yeah, and KTVU and in the Bay Area, I used to watch all of those. That's a great point. It does have that same feeling, that same vibe, because MASH had some hard ass hitting episodes.
Yeah, it did.
But it's the damnest funniest show ever.
Oh, especially that episode with the chicken when you really, oh man, I don't even want to get into that one.
Remember the landmines?
Oh yeah, Bratty Kid, thank you so much for the super sticker. Let me see what it is here. I don't have it up.
It's a coming soon super sticker.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Coming soon.
PJ, were there any episodes that disappointed you?
With the Orville, no. I think, listen, one of the things about the Orville that's very different from other shows is that most TV shows, they start filming at the beginning of the season, and they're still writing, the episodes mid-season and the episodes that are toward the end of the season while they start filming. But when they get ready to film a season for the Orville, all the scripts have been written and they've been sitting there for months. They've been rehashed. They've been polished. They've been, and that's kind of the work ethic that Seth brings from animation. That everything is done prior to sitting down and getting to work. And I think that the scripts are very, very polished and really well done.
Wow, fascinating. So it's so patience and temperance carries the day for quality, as always in life.
Yeah, prepared. Preparation favors the prepared. Chance favors the prepared mind, right?
Yep.
Happy Canada Day, eh? To all our Canadian listeners out there. Hope you're having a good day. And yeah, the chicken episode, that was the finale, dearest. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the finale or which episode that was. I've seen so many in such random order that I never know what is what. So, wow, we got our first spam bot in here. Awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Tried.
Big
We're
time.
movie stars.
Let me just say, I really like Jesse's Kitchen.
Oh, he's got an awesome place there.
Yeah, I got to.
He worked hard for that, man. He
I
deserves
got to
it.
get rid of them drapes though, because they're turquoise, man. Doesn't match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get black or white. Yeah, something like that. Perhaps,
I'm thinking something darker, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, Mike, did you have any more questions for PJ?
No. That's it. I want to know his favorite episodes and if there were any that disappointed him more.
Are we ever going to get a Mexican Iron Man channel or not?
He does have a channel, but he doesn't do a whole lot of.
It's there. He just spends all of his time here and everywhere else.
Mike is a man of the world, and he produces so much shit. Like Mike is like the Mexican equivalent of me.
Okay.
He does have a lot of energy. I'll give him that.
Pretty much. I think that's why I gravitated
And he
to
works
Tom like
twice
2 years
as hard
ago.
as I do. And he works twice as hard as probably anybody I know, because he has a career, and not just a career like I got a job. Motherfucker has a career, and I'm not gonna.
I got 7 employees that I got to pay every.
Well, I'm gonna say I don't want to dox what you do. Like, man, dude.
No, I don't care. But tax. I run the tax and accounting firm. I got 7 employees.
And not just any. He does like big shit. So like this guy knows what he's doing. Plus, he works with Paulie, us. God knows how many other channels doing shit all the time, dude. I don't know when he sleeps.
Oh, I do sleep. Sleep's important to me. I
really
religiously
don't.
sleep
You
6
say
to 8
you
hours.
do. I haven't witnessed it.
And the only reason the only
trying
reason
to
I
come
said
over?
it is not because you're not busy enough, because you're all over the place, but it's because you seem that you always have so much to share. That's the only reason
Thanks, brother. Thanks, man. Well, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I got to tell you, I mean, it's a great honor to be a fan, and then say be on channels like this, and all that.
I
mean,
apologize. I guess that was a bit of an insult. You're right, Shum.
How was it an insult?
Because he's the Mexican Tom.
Yeah, because Tom is not a good thing to be.
Oh, I took that as a compliment.
Well, I'm glad
I get it.
That's what I thought.
who wants to be me? I don't even
I love what you do, dude. Dude, you're everywhere too. No, I just thanks so much for saying that, PJ. But you know what? I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of obviously all these things that we're fans of. But I'm a fan of all you guys, and I love being a fan. I mean, maybe look, if there's anything that I'm going to do, I might do some political stuff, like maybe later this summer. I've been thinking about that. But other than that, I love
talking politics.
I love promoting. I love watching what you guys do, what everybody does, and I love it. I mean, it's like here's the analogy I'll draw. I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a huge Oakland A's baseball fan. Red Sox secondary, A's number 1. New York sucks. Sorry for chat, but it's kind of like this. It's kind of like being a fan and being there, and then versus like being able to help participate in batting practice and catching the ball or that kind of stuff. And that's how I look at all this stuff. And I might do something later, but I do have a job. I do have a company. I make lots of money, but I have to make lots of money because I got 7 employees. I got 7 people to feed, 7 families to take care of, plus mine. So
See,
I love being a fan to you guys.
To think too.
And I want credit from Valiant. Valiant, when you launched your channel, I definitely was one of your first subs. You were in single digits back then.
He was. Yeah, Mike. I don't remember how it was. It was on. Maybe it was over at Echo Base or something like that. I forget what the first stream was, but we talked a little bit, and you said, "Hey, let me give you a call or something." And yeah, I had like 10 subs. It was February 10th or some shit like that. It was like a week after I got on YouTube, and that was 5 months ago.
And I'm like, you're gonna be big. You're gonna get places. And then I dragged you on Echo Base that Saturday and left you there.
That was it.
I love that laugh.
And every time I'm on Echo Base, I still get shit from Coach. So,
I love it. It's awesome. I love Coach. God, I love Coach.
Yeah.
Coach is
Mike
my
does
brother.
it well.
Coach and Nick are my brothers.
Come in and fill in tonight for me. Okay, all right, sure, Coach. I'll fill in for you. In the middle of a stream, he is actually razzing me from the background. He's not even on the show. And he's throwing up slides because he still has control of StreamYards.
Yep.
He's throwing up slides as, Valiant Renegade reading super chats. And it's like it's the mentally handicapped guy from Family Guy on the screen. And like, fuck you. Thanks, Mike. You got me into this.
Mike is awesome. Willis Mallory says, my take is a bit different, but I loved the end credit scene.
Oh, yeah.
For which one are we talking about there?
I think Gillis is talking about MASH.
MASH. Oh, yeah, MASH. Yeah. God, I love MASH. You know what else I love? Cheers.
I'm a Cheers addict.
Love that show. Yeah.
I'm gonna go see the bar with. I'm gonna
I
go
saw
see
every damn episode of Cheers back in the day, but I wouldn't watch it again now
Why?
because it's like dark and boring looking.
It's hilarious, man. I watch
Dude,
it all
I
the
know,
time.
it is funny, but it's just like it's too. It looks like
Honestly,
someplace I
dude,
wouldn't want to hang out. Really,
Honestly, I don't know, dude. I and now that it's in HD, man, I watch it whenever I get like time, like when I'm cooking supper and I sit down and eat and whatever. Like I'm watching like an episode or two of MASH or not MASH, Cheers, because I just love it. It's such a witty show. What were you saying, PJ?
Tom, can I just share a prediction for Orville season 3?
Please.
Ooh.
All right. So when we have Jason Alexander is the bartender on the Orville, right?
Yeah.
And Jason, in Seinfeld, he always used to say, "I want the Ted Danson plane. I want a Ted Danson salary." And so Ted Danson is one of the admirals on the Orville. So I predict at some point you're going to see this whole thing, a scene at the bar at some point between Ted Danson and Jason Alexander at the bar of the Orville. Some Cheers dynamics, some Seinfeld dynamics there, I think.
Oh, that would be
I'm all
so
for it.
That would be
good.
cool. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I think that we're going to get more Seinfeld, because they were actually sitting on the bridge in one episode watching a Seinfeld episode of the Orville on the Orville Bridge. And one of the things that I think we're going to get is because Seth got that big NBC Universal deal. I think we're going to see some more of those crossovers.
PJ, you just won a special thanks in my new show. Script, I don't know if you're listening or not, but write this down. Cheers in space.
Cheers in space.
An alien space bar. But it's not like Star Wars, it's like more subdued like Cheers. But you have all these different walks of life.
I'm digging this.
Exactly.
You should write it, help script produce it.
George Went's still alive. That's all I'm saying. So
He's got to be in it.
Yeah. So is John Ratzenberger, I think. So
Yeah. It's a little known fact there.
What was that character's name again?
We just need
Cliff.
to get one Cliff.
Cliff and Norm.
Cliff.
just-
Valiant
we just-
Renegade is like our Cliff. He knows everything about everything.
So who gets to be the bartender?
Yeah, I'll start doing that voice from now on. So yeah, all right.
I love
would
whenever
definitely
they
be the bartender.
I love
right?
whenever they have an argument, they turn to him for the answer.
Oh yeah, right.
Well, they're back in the 13th century, and
There was a
Sounds just like
bar.
you.
There's
He's
a
Google
bar
before
near
Google.
my. If I don't, can I just share this real quick? There's
Please.
a bar near my college that used to hire a Norm and a Cliff impersonator just to sit at the bar.
Really?
oh, that's fucking great.
That would be awesome. No, man, no, please. That's what this show's about. It's a little more laid back. Yeah, we talk a little news, but just make it 25% different than what Cheers. Oh yeah, it'll be way more different than Cheers. It's just
We will call
just
it
the idea.
Cheers Prime.
Yeah, Cheers in space.
Cheers Prime.
Wait,
No,
here's the
love it, love
question.
it.
If I'm on the planet and I have to get to the bar in space, do I use a transporter or a Stargate?
Ask Jesse.
You
God
want to
damn it.
use a
Now there's-
Stargate to
that's
get
an
off of a
episode that
planet,
ranks
you'll end up
itself.
in the same spot on a
That's an
different
episode
planet,
that
in a
ranks
different
itself.
dimension.
You have two
gotta
guys at the bar who are like, one is a transport salesman and the other guy who's just he's like, I'll never use a transport. I'm a Stargate man all the way.
He's a used shuttle salesman and a
Drunk as
transport
hell.
salesman.
Oh,
There you
who
go.
wants to buy a Stargate from this fucking molecule burner? You microwave people! You microwave people! See, it writes itself.
Man.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
I saw you help a pregnant lady into that once.
And then the guy pipes it. No, you just stop it. By percentage wise, transporters are 110% more safe than Stargates. We only have 1% death compared to your 20.
I have a question though. I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of obscure and weird, but how come in Star Trek the motion picture the transporters didn't work, but they had no problem working before for 5 years or 4 years or whatever this journey was?
Plot.
Okay, thanks.
It was I think it was the fact that the Enterprise had been refitted and that not everything worked 100%, right?
Okay.
Sending the Enterprise out before she was ready was always a hallmark of some of the plots of some of the episodes, just so you could have that, oh shit, they're going to get in trouble aspect.
Culture Casino says, I'm in on this Cheers space show. Yeah, you can be one of the producers too, Culture. And we'll actually have a character.
Oh, Coulter should be the bartender. Look at that hair. With
Culture,
the-
I was just going to say, he's going to be like
Culture
this
could be Woody.
weird looking
Yes!
alien, but he has like the most gorgeous hair. Like, and all the women
wait,
just
no,
fall.
he
Like,
would be
he's an
with-
ugly alien. Why would you love him? But that hair. And that's
No, he
the
would
show.
play a new character. He would be Space Goldilocks. Hey, Space, how's it going? Oh, I'm just over here taking care of my locks.
Wait, we're going to go by the hair? He could be Rebecca.
DCB Titan points out you basically had Cheers in space with quirks on DS9. Yeah, Morn is basically a mute norm. Well,
I was thinking that myself, but you still had the
25%
overall mall cop factor.
Maybe
of
that's what that.
Cisco.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that's what that 25% different thing was all about. I'm sure we could work on it enough to where it's different. Yeah. Oh, and we got Julio Scissors here who says Coach is better than Woody. I don't think anybody would argue that, but I mean, come on, Woody has got to be like the Brian Johnson of replacing somebody on a TV show. Did you guys get the analogy I'm getting at here? Because how often do you replace the lead singer in a band? And they are just as successful or better than when they had and not taking anything away from, but like when you
Back
think
in
of Woody,
Black was a major album.
that's what I'm saying. Like, when they brought Brian Johnson, it was like they were AC/DC before that, but then they were AC fucking DC. You know what I mean? And like
For real.
Cheers was always Cheers, but when Woody came in and certain dynamics came into that show, it just amped it up instead of taking it down a notch. So never to take anything away from Coach because he was beloved as hell. But just like when Bon Scott passed away in AC/DC, it's like, what are you going to do? Most bands don't survive that. Just like most shows don't usually survive losing a major cast member like that. But when you try and replace them, it's disastrous.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And in this case, it just happened to work out brilliantly, and it made a star out of Woody Harrelson. So there you go.
Yeah, dude. And then he found the cowboy way and a money train.
And learned that white men cannot jump.
That's true.
Hey, Tom, can I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah.
You guys think? Well, I can ask everybody this question. Do you guys think about that show Space Force? Do you guys think we're going to get a second season of that?
I haven't saw the first season, but I haven't really kept up with it too much. What kind of ratings did it get? It was on Netflix or whatever, wasn't it? Or which channel was it on?
I don't remember, but it was very politically charged. So I'm wondering if they're actually going to go.
I thought I heard it was going to have a second season, but I don't know. I hadn't kept up with that one. I hadn't really heard anything about it. So, sorry, I don't know anything about that. You guys watch that one at all or know anything about it?
No, I didn't even know of this show.
I remember hearing about it. Isn't that the one with Steve Carell or something in it?
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, that's the one that's was it on? What's it
I think
on,
it was
Apple
Netflix.
TV or,
Was
Netflix.
it Apple TV?
I was one of the
I knew it was some streaming service.
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
couldn't. That's
Netflix or
and that
Prime
speaks
or
to you
something.
right there.
Netflix.
They didn't do a good enough
Yeah.
job of advertising that show to where I remember where it's at. So, and if I don't remember where it's at, then how's a normie supposed to?
Yeah, I
Google.
don't think it got that much traction
Yeah.
from what I recall.
No. And then, we got some people like, look, I'll tell you right now, as far as AC/DC, don't get me wrong, like the Bon Scott era, they had a lot better songs and more hits probably, but when Brian Johnson came in, they became that, Back in Black was that
Brian
seminal
Johnson
album.
was
Oh,
the
yeah.
leader of the band for far more years than Bon Scott.
He was in
because
the
of his
end.
Yeah.
untimely death.
Between
But
Back
Bon
in Black
Scott
and
had hipper lyrics.
Razor's Edge,
and-
though, I mean, those two albums are just so fucking amazing.
Yeah, Brian Johnson hit
those
harder.
those are icons of rock and roll. Period. In the story, and probably
imagine-
two of the 5 greatest albums, probably.
Just imagine Bon Scott singing Thunderstruck for a moment.
I had a copy of Bon Scott singing Back in Black. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Go look it out. It's probably on YouTube. It's not horrible, but it's not the same. It's different.
Yeah, it's a different grind.
But it's the same almost music wise. But like the song, you're just listening to it and you're just like, wow, this could have been something. But it just Brian Johnson brought something different to the table as well. Oh, and Who Made Who definitely. But that was more of a what do you call those, an EP or whatever? Because half the songs are not new. It only had like 3 new songs on it or whatever.
Well,
it was.
you know what? As long as we got Maximum Overdrive.
Who
that's
Made
all
Who
that's-
is almost like a weird greatest hits album in a way.
Yeah, it is.
Even though it's the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive, but but anyhow, yeah, Big Gun was a great song too. Yeah, I mean they had a lot of
That
great
was my
stuff,
song.
but you get to like their last 3 or 4 albums and they all sound the same. Let's be real. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Most of them out, dude. They got an A, they got a B, they got a G, and they got a D.
Well, I have a hard time telling the difference between like their last 3 singles. Sometimes
they all rock. It doesn't matter.
Stiff Upper Lip and the Train one, and then the fucking what was the one on Ball Breaker?
Ball Breaker.
Was that the only one they had? Yes, that's the thing is those like Stiff Upper Lip is the only memorable one out of all those that I just mentioned, as far as I'm concerned. And that it just because it sounds like an AC/DC song, like you know what I mean. Like they're getting to the point where they just kind of sound like the generic selves. It's just, maybe it's time they just kind of gave it up. But hey, I heard Brian Johnson was having issues singing for a while there too. But
He was.
Well, the way he was singing, I mean, you guys know, I've mentioned this before. My wife is 20 plus years a professionally trained voice instructor. I mean, she went to college. She was a music major. She teaches voice now. She runs a music school. And, she'll sit there and tell you, she listens to, these songs are popular, even artists like Adele. She's like, she's going to have nodules on the back of her vocal cords by the time she's 30 and all. And guess what? It winds up being true. Brian Johnson, of course, with his singing style, as fucking awesome as it is, yes, it's going to wreck your vocal cords. And it's going to, you only have so many years of being able to sing like that, especially when you're singing live, you're going
the same
on
thing
tour.
happened to him
Absolutely. There's no way you can get around with that rasp. I mean, we can do it, but if you do it every day in and out like these guys do, you've got a very short shelf life on those chords.
That's why AC/DC Live is so awesome, because he's just like,
oh yeah, I mean, both eras are great. I mean, the thing is, it's so much easier to love both as opposed to like something like Van Halen, where you're like,
oh yeah,
you get into arguments about the Hagar, David
I
Lee
like
Roth.
Hagar better by himself.
Same here. I don't like him as much. He's only got 1 or 2 good songs when he's with Van Halen, and then
Van Halen made him is like too happy sounding for him. He needs to just get out there and play his own guitar.
Well, and just David Lee Roth was the perfect fit.
He was.
Just, I don't know.
Tom, were you a professional DJ?
Yeah, I was for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Both.
His name is DJ Buttercup.
Yep. I spin those cups. All right. Well, we got to head out of here. I think we've all overstayed our welcome, which we love to do. Heavy metal's probably between that and I Can't Drive 55.
I like heavy metal better.
But like as far as Van Halen, the only songs of his I really like are like Right Now and only a couple other ones. I can't even think of them. That's the thing, is they're not even that memorable.
We should do a show if we ever get a chance. We should do a show where we just go over like classic
What's
bands.
the one where they go like do 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 do? What's that song? It's shit.
Yo, tomorrow.
No, that's the other. Is that same song? Fuck.
Oh,
that's the only good song they have.
That's the one with the piano intro is Right Now. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the only good song they got.
It was used in the if nobody remembers, it was used in the Crystal Pepsi commercial in the early '90s.
That's true.
Crystal
Dreams is
Pepsi.
okay.
What an abortion.
Dreams is okay. There's a couple of other songs. I'm just trying to remember. I can't even remember the names of them. That's what's sad. But now you ask me 5 fucking, Van Halen songs with David Lee Roth, and I can name them. Julio says, thank you again for $5. I demand Boomer Rock debate stream. Oh, we talk about Boomer Rock all the time.
I'm down.
Yeah.
That's
I'm down. I'll have that debate.
I hate to use the term degrade, but that's kind of what these do. These sessions always kind of turn into, eventually we talk about like music or something of that nature. So, and it generally ends up in the 70s or 80s for sure.
Hail Julio Scissors.
And hail to you again, yes, for the super chat. You guys have been great tonight. So is PJ. Thank you so much for being here. Valiant as well for joining us, as always. And PJ's channel, again, if you haven't checked it out, check out that interview with Andrew Moody. I'm sure, like we've kind of pointed out earlier, that this is just kind of the beginning, and it's not even remotely near the end. I think we're going to start to hear more and more as we get farther away from things and people who are no longer employed there or haven't worked with them for a while. We might start to hear more of the stories that, the same kind of stories we were hearing from them, I think it sounds like to me. But yeah, PJ, anything else to add or anything to plug or tease?
No, just thank you so much for the invite. It's an honor to be here. I think I'm subscribed to Valiant's channel. Jesse, do you have a channel?
Indeed, I do, sir.
Then I will go ahead.
I usually corral drunks for the first 15
Jesse's
minutes,
channel is exactly what you would think it is.
Yeah, like, yeah. It's
hey, it's monetized.
That's an insult or a compliment, but it's fucking funny.
It's but everybody loves it.
Look, I have a whole pirate motif going on, and it really is like being on a pirate ship. And sometimes you got to throw somebody off.
What's the name of the channel?
Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest.
Yeah, it's almost
exactly
like you stumbled into a pirate-themed like fucking bar where half the theme fell off, and Jesse just didn't put it back up.
Yeah,
but he's a damn good bartender, and he always has every drink you want. Sure, the place doesn't look the prettiest, but I mean, of course, the place he has behind him does. But his channel.
I gotta do my dishes though.
I always jump in there and listen. And he's always got just a ton of people on there talking about totally different shit from all over the world.
That's the whole deal. It's like
it's not always entertainment related and stuff.
Correct. I want to do more topic style streams. I used to do educational topic streams, but now I would just want to do fun ones. But maybe do that like once a week. But usually it's just talk about whatever you feel like talking about. How was your day? That starts a conversation real quick. 4 hours later, it's like, we covered.
I come in there 1 minute, they're talking about like fucking medieval swords. The next, it's like rotary phones. And nothing. There's no. And Jesse laughs because that's probably an actual conversation I stumbled into.
And it's like the other day, Big Steve took off his shirt and he looked all ripped. So then Brian unhides his camera and he's got his shirt off and he's like flexing his pecs. Fucking ass.
But yeah, so check out Jesse's channel. And of course, Valiant. I can't say enough, just like PJ's. You got to check out these guys' channel. They all do great work. You can have a good time at Jesse's, but Valiant also does a lot of great videos. And PJ, of course, like I said, we've been plugging your interview since Tuesday. And we've talked about you before. And like we said,
can I plug one thing, Tom?
Absolutely, plug away.
There is a friend of ours who Loki has set up a fundraiser for a friend of ours who is going through kidney failure. That's Rambling Canuck. I want just to draw some attention to that fundraiser that Loki and Mexican Iron Man are working hard on.
Yep.
I did not know that, and I think I've been on a couple streams with him, and I'm sorry to hear that. So hopefully, you guys can get over there and help him out. That'd be great. Otherwise, if there's anything else you want to plug, we'll just say check out Mexican Iron Man's channel as well, because maybe sooner or later he'll make a video.
Someday.
Nah.
Possibly
I have me unwrapping my kid's Father's Day present from last year, and I think I have one comic book unboxing. Although the biggest video I did was with Doomcock, but it's over on Doomcock's channel. It's when I went in at Disney like a secret spy, and I took pictures of Galaxy Edge. That one got like 130,000 views. It's like me. Wow. I went in disguise. It's like, and I took videos of whether or not Galaxy Edge sucked or not. That was fun.
I could just picture you going around trying to hop fences dressed like Mickey Mouse.
No, I took off my Mexican Iron Man outfit and I went.
But he's like, no.
Only it's not like a full-fledged Mickey Mouse costume. You still see his face. Like
Oh,
his
yeah.
face.
No, it's
is-
Miguelito Mouse. Doggone it! What diversity and inclusion? Miguelito Mouse.
I was gonna say something, but I just left it at that. But anyhow, we love Mike. That's why we keep him around. He's so awesome.
Next time you want pictures of something, just get yourself a Dunbar uniform off of online, and they'll let you in wherever you want.
This motherfucker pays us and he to hang around. It's like, dude, we should be paying you. We keep trying. But
No,
hey.
no. Stop. All right, move on to the next person. We're done tonight.
Oh,
All right,
well,
now get him there.
Mexican Iron Man.
Yeah,
Thank you for all the behind the scenes support. By the way, especially lately, I appreciate it.
Yeah, brother, I'm with you. Let me know when let me know when or if we're doing
That's what I'm
that.
saying. I don't even know what this guy does. He does so much stuff behind the scenes. Like I never know. It's like he helps out so many people.
All right, we got a new member.
I love new
All right,
members.
Julio Scissors.
Welcome
You guys
to
have
the
any
cult.
idea how many members I have now? And I can say that to people, and they're just like, Jesus.
Hey,
It's
I'll
like-
do a member stream with you if you want.
Well, it's because generally I refer to my member as my member.
Yeah, I was about to say he's walking you into that one, Mike. Shut up.
What? No, I said no. I said I'll do you a member. Wait.
Yeah,
hold
no,
on.
I know. We already did a
So
member
wait.
each and every
Shut
one
up.
Why
of
is
you,
everyone
that's what
laughing at
she
me?
said.
What did I say? I just missed something. Why is
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
laughing
You're
at
walking
me?
backwards through a cornfield in about 10
I will
minutes.
predict
Just-
that Mike will be on my first live stream long before he makes his own first video. So,
Well, he has videos.
yeah.
They're
Or
just
Hey,
before he
Max
makes his
just
next
joined.
one.
Oh, wait a minute. You meant like your member? Like I would? Oh no. I'm not going to help
Yeah.
you with that member. No.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
another member, Max 15.
All right, Max. Woo-hoo.
Welcome to the
Wow.
church.
I like that.
And the
Sorry,
minimum
Dave.
effort puppies.
can't
We
do
got a
that.
puppy on a treadmill coming, I bet.
I could probably do that. We did minimum
Or more
effort today.
camel.
Oh.
I think Max and Julio get to take home the extra virtual guacamole that I made for tonight's show. That's over by the taco bar. There's an extra.
Hey,
bin.
I have a quick legal question. If we just start a church, doesn't that make all of this tax exempt?
Good luck with that.
Good
Let's
luck
do
with
it.
that. Yes, but it takes so freaking long to get that status.
Welcome to the church.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, what
Methodist.
did it take Scientology? Like 20 years? 30 years?
It's,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't take that long, but it's a. I
We
do
ain't got
this shit
the
for a living.
Thetans here. For, we
Let
ain't
me
got
put
the
you this
Thetans
way:
for that.
I only do business clients. I don't do like 1040 tax free. Oh, here's my W-2. I only do business taxes. I'll tell you this much: I specifically don't do any churches or nonprofit or religious institutions because they're a pain in the ass.
And they don't want to
Amen.
pay. They act
Look at
like
that.
they
Wait,
have
we
no
got
money.
another member.
It's raining
Oh.
members.
Welcome to the cult.
And now I got
David. Wait, I know David personally. I talked to David.
Oh, really?
David in chat. Confirm this. Didn't we? You and I just talk on the phone like for an hour yesterday or the day before.
Look at these guys coming in strong at the end.
Now I
And
gotta
thank
do a
you.
member-
So David, since the way these David went to I went to Stanford, right? David went to Cal, but I told him the story of like how like because Stanford didn't have accounting classes, I had to go back and retake the whole degree. I should have gone to Berkeley. Damn it, would have saved me 3 more years of school.
Boomer Rock Talk is paying off. Well, we'll have to have a show on Sundays called Boomer Rock Talk at 9 o'clock in the morning after the early bird special.
Dude, you're never up at
That's
9
not bad.
o'clock in
That's
the
not
morning.
bad.
No,
Yeah.
there's no
Are
way
you
Tom is up
kidding?
at 9 in the
Wait, we
morning.
got another
Oh
one.
my God! Another one.
Welcome to the cult.
And Max, I love to say that I can say
Look
my
at
member
this.
is Max.
Wait, Rob just joined. Rob
Rob's
Slevin.
in.
Rob Slevin.
Boy, you
Yeah.
chat tonight have
Now I
been
can say-
fantastic.
Now I can say my member is 11 inches long. So thank you so much. Yeah.
What do you mean? No, he's a member. His name's Rob. What do you mean you're a member?
Quit while you're ahead, Mike. Quit while you're ahead.
He's never gonna get it.
Just put the hot dog in the
Anyway,
Five,
welcome, Rob.
four,
Yes,
What up,
thank
Rob?
you.
2, 1. And he gets it now.
I still don't think I know what you guys are talking about again.
Yeah.
I have registered your opinion, Spock, but decided I don't give a damn about it.
Well, you know, Mike has never seen 11 inches.
Oh shit! Look.
Oh,
I know Rob Altus.
Oh, Altus is in too.
welcome
Oh,
to the
shit.
cult.
Wow.
I know Rob. I know Rob.
Yeah.
Look, on Christmas we're going to pass around the
Okay,
Kool-Aid.
sorry,
Okay,
all right.
And
So
I
here's
know
the
it
deal.
might taste bitter, but drink
I've
it
only
all.
got 2 or 3 bins of extra virtual guacamole. So you 5 guys are gonna have to split it up into little containers and take it home. So
And I've made the members levels very affordable. So like I'm not like there. I think there's like a 1, a 5, and I don't even know. Is there $9?
15, I think it's
is there
max.
15? I know
Yeah.
they make you do them in certain increments. But
See,
like,
I saw the whole channel member thing on the monetization thing, but I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Special send Christmas cards?
Okay. So here's an example. See these fine people that just joined, and then the other members that we have here on this channel. Tom, we're gonna do a live stream for members only.
Yeah, that's the plan, and yeah, exactly.
I will not only go full on camera, but I will wear my sexy Mexican Iron Man sweater that I got the other day, or sweatshirt that I got the other day. Okay, wait, that's not gonna make people aren't gonna show up then. Hold on, never mind. Mexican Iron Man's gonna dress like normal. Never mind.
No, no,
no, but yeah, we should do that this weekend. Maybe I know we have to have a member stream on the main channel as well again, but I got to get one done here. So yeah, sometime
this weekend, I'm down.
This weekend, at least me and Mike, if not more, will hop in with you guys who are members, and we'll do a member stream.
Welcome everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And hey, even if you're not a member near the stream, hey, thanks for the super chats. Thanks for being here. Even if you didn't do any super chats, every view counts. Every view matters for Tom on this channel. So
yeah, it is actually
for banging that like button. Yeah,
they are 2 separate channels, but yeah. So yeah, even if you have channels linked, they don't intermingle. I learned. So
yeah, our Midnight's Edge is like 5 channels now.
I think so. If
I can personally tell you it's 5. I know that.
If you count the redheaded stepchild that Andre hasn't acknowledged yet, yes.
Let me just remind everybody.
Hey, when's the next MEAD Radio?
The AC/DC song "Big Gun" was the first song I ever requested from Tom on MEAD Radio.
Oh, that's cool.
I even made a video about it, and then YouTube copyright smashed it, wouldn't let me publish it.
Oh yeah, those don't stay.
That's why I stopped doing the music reaction videos. Like more than half of them get blocked.
And it was
you know what, Duck
shit,
Nation?
too.
There might be, but I know that the comics division's chat is coming up here in about 90 minutes. I might drop into that, and even if I don't drop into that, I don't want to overstream it or nothing. So not that I would get nearly the viewers that he would on his side of things. Even though I like MEAD Radio because you can listen to that while you're watching other streams, but I might actually hop into the stream. So that's another reason why, but who knows? But we got MEAD in the morning too. So
MEAD Radio is great to look for like a weirdo when you're driving around in the car.
The thing is, I can't really say when it is because it's pirate radio. So you can't say it's not pirate radio. No, that, and it also keeps certain people off my ass. Stephen Otten says, I'm always down for a good member stream. I haven't gotten us canceled yet. Yeah, Stephen has come on himself on the main channel member streams as well. So, and MEAD is chill as fuck. We try. That's the whole kind of vibe we go for here, and that's why people like PJ tend to come back, even though they're probably embarrassed as hell to say they know us. they still have a good time.
Oh, I ain't doing this fucking shit again.
Always have fun. Always have fun.
Says that, and then he's knocking at my door, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Tom."
I got a message from Tom this morning, I'm in Europe right now, but I'm like, this poor guy. When does he sleep? Because
Tuesdays.
Tom truly doesn't sleep though.
He ain't lying.
He sleeps for like 3 or 4 hours around like 10 a.m.
I'm like, there's no. Oh, he hasn't been to bed yet. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
I
text him my ungodly hours, and he texts me right back. I'm like, he's totally awake.
Yeah, I go by the
because after this, I'm going straight to bed. Like I go to bed between 10 and 11 East Coast time, faux show, and then like sometimes like I'll wake up like at 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes I get an early start like 4:30, and there's Tom MEAD Radio.
I can't. I get up in the morning and I'm like taking kids to school. I got notifications. MEAD Radio just finished streaming an hour ago. It's like 7 a.m. I'm like, what the?
Now you got something to listen to on your way.
Dude, I replay it. Yeah.
Well, I always say that Tom is what sleep does when it rests.
Hey, we got another super chat.
Yes. House of Trades.
The House of Atreides says, anyone see Batman The Long Halloween? No, I heard it was out. I haven't got a chance to see it. I'll probably wait because I heard it's a 2-parter, so I'll probably just wait till the 2-parter comes all together. Because I watched that Dark Knight one and I was like, God darn it, I had to wait forever for the other part to come out. So I'll probably just wait. I never get a chance to watch anything anyway. I'll buy it now and they'll come out with a super special edition anyway. I'll be pissed. So, yeah. Anybody else see it here? I haven't.
No, I'm like you. I wait till everything's together.
Yeah, it's one of the new animated DC films.
Oh yeah. No, I know exactly what it is.
Oh, it's on Amazon. Is it on Prime for free, or is it one of the ones you got to rent? I would think they would have it on HBO Max, if anything.
I didn't see where it was. I saw a promo for it. I don't know.
Well, let's put it on the list for the next show.
Well, I gotta have some time to nunchuck Mr. Tickle Trunk. All right, kids. I know Mike has to leave, and I'm sure PJ's like, I gotta pee. Valiant Renegade's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And Jesse's just like, I gotta go kill a frog and find my cat.
I feel violated.
Yeah, and 90 other actually behind me, that back by the oven, that's 3 bookcases after.
And in the next night. Oh, that's nice. And then in the next 10 minutes, Mike will produce 3 shows.
No, Mike's gonna go walk the dog.
Do 2 people's taxes. Walk the dog at the same time simultaneously.
With a yo-yo? You could do
I'm
taxes
still
while
wondering-
you use a yo-yo? That's like really concentration.
And he might even pop into another stream while he's doing all that.
No, he's not. I'm done. I'm done for the night.
He's done for the night. This man works way too much.
Yeah,
And with that, kids, I just want to say thanks to everybody for being here once again. Take care of yourselves and each other.